Chapter 51:26. Long Chen had already expected this result. He knew that the powerhouses of the Earth Demon clan would never let him leave. The only breakthrough was on Lu Fan. However, Lu Fan's power is beyond his imagination, especially his self-destruction of the Destiny Roulette. Long Chen has never seen such a terrifying trick. The most terrifying thing is that Long Chen didn't feel anything at the time, and only later realized that something was wrong. He took Lu Fan's last blow. A force he had never encountered before was frantically destroying his body, even chaos. The repairing power of space is too late to repair. Fortunately, Long Chen had always reserved before, and did not dare to do his best because he was different from Lu Fan. Lu Fan had no worries, but he had to save his strength to escape. It is precisely because of the preservation of these strengths that he resisted the impact of Lu Fan's last blow. However, Long Chen clearly felt that something was wrong with his body and he had to find a place to heal. Long Chen sealed the power of the cross god in Lu Fan's body. At this time, Lu Fan was a volcano that could erupt at any time. If he wanted to save him, even if he was a 6-vein Tianqing-level powerhouse, he had to be careful and not miss the slightest bit. And this kind of seal can only be done by gentle purple blood. Whether it is dragon blood or colorful supreme blood, once injected into Lu Fan's body that was about to be shattered will be instantly burst. Long Chen is betting. He bet that Lu Fan's life is extremely important to the Earth Demons. They dare not let Lu Fan die. Therefore, after throwing Lu Fan, Long Chen dashes forward desperately. Just as Long Chen expected, these 6 merited heavenly saints did not dare to let Lu Fan die. Slowly was stripped out of Lu Fan's body. These 6-veined heavenly saint-level powerhouses thought that with their power, they could easily suppress Long Chen's magic and complete the peeling in an instant. Although their idea was right, Long Chen's technique was terrifying, but it was nothing to a 6-meridian Tianqing-level powerhouse, but they ignored one thing, that is Lu Fan's weak body. They need to strip Long Chen's power while taking care of Lu Fan's body. Once the power is out of balance, Lu Fan will still die. Boom! In the distance, the 3-brained heavenly saint-level human and demon roared, and they gathered together to form a human wall, blocking Long Chen's way. At this time, Long Chen had gold stars in his eyes and his breath was chaotic. At this time, he had no way to make a move. At this moment, the voices of Lei Linger and Hua Linger came. "Brother Long Chen, just rush forward, we will help you solve it." Boom! Lei Linger and Hua Linger turned into giant dragons at the same time. 2 giant dragons, one purple and one gold, intertwined, stirring the universe and roaring away. Double dragon breaks the sky, Lei Linger and Hua Linger shouted angrily. They had not cooperated for a long time. This time, the 2 dragons converged, the thunder and fire blended together, and the violent power changed the color of the situation and slammed into the wall of hundreds of people and demons. Boom! With a loud bang, the thunder dragon and the fire dragon exploded at the same time. The huge explosive force tore a large hole in the human wall, and dozens of human demon blood spurted out. Long Chen has been like a bolt of lightning, passing through the hole, breaking through the blockade and galloping away. A bunch of trash, hurry up! The leaders of the Earth Demons were shocked and angry, but they were extracting the power of Long Chen's cross to destroy the gods at this time, and they couldn't be separated. Those people and demons chased out immediately, but just after they chased out, suddenly in the void, pills full of star patterns appeared one by one. Boom, boom, boom. These pills burst open one by one, with huge power tearing the void and blasting a large space crack. When they saw the space crack, these demons instinctively stopped their bodies. Although they are not very intelligent, they also know that this kind of space crack, once sucked in, is extremely dangerous, and it will never come back. The cracks in the space filled half of the sky and just blocked their way. They immediately chose to bypass that area, but with such a delay, Long Chen had already disappeared without a trace. Puff! After 3 consecutive transmissions, Long Chen confirmed that the enemy could no longer catch him, and he couldn't hold it any longer. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and the spurted blood turned out to be pitch black as ink and extremely smelly. When the black blood fell on the ground, white smoke rose from the gravel, and it was instantly eroded away, forming a large pit. What is this? Long Chen was shocked and angry. How could it seem like he was poisoned? This is the curse of destiny, which is a bit similar to the perverted supernatural power of the heavenly way of the life-hunting family. He curses you with his own destiny. If your life is not as hard as his, you will be instantly cursed to death. This is a curse that gathers the power of heaven, luck, and fate. The power is very terrifying, but ordinary people will not use this method to fight the enemy. This is purely a stupid move to injure 800 enemies and lose 1,000 oneself. However, this guy is supported by the power of faith and is not afraid of the curse of heaven, so he dares to use this move recklessly. Moreover, his destiny roulette will also be reshaped under the power of faith, except that it will take some time to recover. Without much impact. Qian Kunding explained. What a pervert! Long Chen couldn't help cursing. This guy has countless trump cards, and his insidious tricks are endless. Such a perverted person was almost killed by you, aren't you more perverted? There was a smile in Qian Kunding's voice, and he seemed to be very satisfied with Long Chen's performance. Hey, that's also, poof! As a result, Long Chen was just complacent, and another mouthful of black blood spurted out, the blood drop fell on the ground, and the earth was eroded into countless bottomless holes. Senior, I feel that my head is getting more and more painful, and my body is getting weaker and weaker. Is there anything I can do? Long Chen clutched his head that was about to be split open, and gritted his teeth. There is a way, but I don't recommend you to use it. The curse of destiny will not kill you, it will only make you uncomfortable. You need to adapt to this curse and form resistance. If you encounter such a pervert in the future, you will not be so embarrassed. You must know that Lu Fan is just one of the 8 sons of Brahma. Qian Ding said. As soon as Long Chen heard it, he understood that Lu Fan's move, every one of the 8 Brahma children, Long Chen must find a way to resist it, otherwise the next time he encounters it, it will really be fatal. In addition, apart from the Brahma lineage, who knows if there are other abnormal races that can do this? There is no way. Long Chen can only grit his teeth and try to use his own willpower to fight or even suppress this curse. Buzzing. Suddenly, the jade card on Long Chen's waist lit up rapidly. Nima, it's terrible. Long Chen's face suddenly changed. Chapter 5127. The nameplate on Long Chen's waist is a communication tool with Emonian. In the Cold Sky domain, Long Chen's magical tool has never responded, because Emonian has long known that Long Chen is here, so he has never contacted Long Chen. It's just that Long Chen doesn't know. Now this magic weapon is madly lit up, which means that Emonian is in a fatal danger and urgently needs rescue, and Long Chen is cursed at this time, and he is too busy to take care of himself. How to save him? You really pick your time? Long Chen had no choice. He gritted his teeth, took out the teleportation array, and teleported in one direction. After 7 consecutive transmissions and 2 corrections, Long Chen finally determined the position of Emonian, and the speed of unfolding the thunder wings increased to the extreme. Finally, Long Chen met Emonian in a hidden cave in a valley. At this time, Emonian was covered in blood. A rotten sword pierced his shoulder blade, leaning against the stone wall. With a face like golden paper, the person has passed out in a coma. Long Chen was horrified to discover that the long sword that pierced Emonian's shoulders actually exuded the aura of the Emperor, and it turned out to be a divine weapon of the Emperor. At this time, Emonian's anger was like a gossamer, and even the fire of the soul was flickering, and it looked like it would go out at any time. Long Chen was frightened and hurriedly fed Emonian a pill. At the same time, he hurriedly summoned Lei Linger to help. At this time, Emonian's whole body was entangled with corpse aura, and the cursed runes covered his body like a centipede, looking extremely terrifying. After swallowing an elixir, Huolinger used the power of heaven to help Emonian erase the cursed rune, and Emonian's complexion finally began to have a hint of ruddy. When he opened his eyes and saw Long Chen, he showed a relieved smile. It is my blessing to have a brother like you. With a brother like you, I am really convinced. Long Chen said angrily, "What are you doing here? If I come a little later, your life will be lost." Brother, I found out that I have a big job this time. Really, with this vote, my Emon will be famous all over the world and look down on the 8 wastes. When he mentioned the big job, Emon eyes suddenly lit up. Woke up. Puff, Long Chen pulled the long sword out of Emon shoulder blade. Emon grimaced in pain. Long Chen didn't care about it. He took out a sharp knife and cut off the rust-stained meat that had begun to rot. Apply ointment to the wound and bandage it. After doing this, Long Chen suddenly felt that his eyes were dazzling, and he felt faint, and he couldn't hold it any longer, so he just sat down. You are also injured? Emon realized that something was wrong with Long Chen. Damn, I met that bastard Lu Fan, and I had a fight with him, and both sides suffered. Long Chen gritted his teeth. You met him? That guy's picture of the Brahma god is too perverted. I don't have such a good weapon, so I can only run. This bastard has been chasing me for a long time. Emon said. It turned out that after Emon rushed into the heavenly fire demon realm that day, he knew that Brahma Pill Valley would not be able to swallow this breath, and would definitely send someone to hunt him down. That passage is controlled by Brahma Pill Valley, so Brahma Pill Valley will definitely send Lu Fan to chase and kill him. After Emon came in, he did not leave immediately, but set up an illusion formation. Everything was as Emon expected. He had just set up the trap when Lu Fan came. Emon made a sneak attack and slashed Lu Fan's face with a shovel. In his rage, Lu Fan directly summoned the Brahma God map and crushed it. Whole space. Emon saw that this guy was going to die. The weapon in his hand did not dare to fight Brahma Divine map recklessly. He took advantage of it and ran away directly, while Lu Fan, who suffered a big loss, chased wildly. Because there is a picture of the Brahma God, you can read the Tao from the sky. Missouri Nyen's hidden technique has been seen several times, and he has been chased and run around. Get away. Emon suffered from the lack of a human emperor-level divine soldier, so he suffered a big loss. Fortunately, he lurked in the cave once, escaped the perception of Brahma God map, and finally escaped. However, the more Emon thought about it, the more wrong he became. After confirming that Lu Fan had left, he quietly ran out to observe the surrounding terrain and the wind and water. He was shocked to find that there was a terrifying burial in the ground where he was. Since then, this guy started to do his old job, and soon found a barren tomb. The so-called barren tomb is that after the death of the terrifying powerhouse, the powerful body is still absorbing the essence of heaven and earth, causing the surrounding mountains to change. Deformation of the earth's crust, a cemetery formed naturally, not man-made. When Emon found the owner of the tomb, he was shocked to find that the owner of the tomb was an immemorial creature. He was a human emperor-level powerhouse before his death. In his hand he also held a keel 7-string bow. Emon eyes bulged out when he saw that longbow. It was a human emperor-level divine weapon, and it was also a super terrifying divine bow. If he had this divine bow, he would be afraid of Mao, the picture of Brahma God? As a result, this guy was excited and focused all his attention on the longbow, but he didn't know that there was a corpse of a quasi-emperor-level powerhouse beside this creature. The corpse was buried in the mud, and there was no breath, but when Emon approached, it stabbed Emon with a sword. As a result, this sword almost killed Emon. A large amount of corpse chi and the power of the curse invaded Emon's body, and Emon was so frightened that he fled immediately. Fortunately, the corpse did not chase him, and Emon was able to escape. After getting out, Emon suddenly felt bad. The terrifying power of the curse contained the endless resentment when the corpse died. He used all methods, but he couldn't stop it. He immediately asked Long Chen for help. Now, Emon realized that the owner of this long sword must be a quasi-emperor-level powerhouse. No wonder the power of the curse is so terrifying. Hey. Although Emon was injured, he couldn't help laughing when he touched the rusty long sword. His eyes were full of joy. It's really getting bigger this time. Damn, next time I meet Lu Fan, I'll definitely be able to punch him out. Emon showed a gloomy smile on his face. Obviously, he suffered a loss from Lu Fan last time. Hate him in his heart. This long sword is dead and useless at all. Long Chen shook his head. Hey, I've been doing archaeology for so many years and you think I'm a fool the style of the past. Emon Yen smiled. What? Listen to what you mean you have to go back? Long Chen asked. What you said, when did I give up the things I liked by Emon Yen? Wherever I fell, I got up from there. Emon Yen said firmly. Then you won't go to the core of the Skyfire demon domain to impact the realm? Long Chen reminded. Emon Yen shook his head and said, that day, the body quenching didn't mean much to me, I'm going to go to the barren tomb for the calamity. When that time comes, we will join hands to kill all the Pill Valley disciples in the heavenly fire demon domain, which can be considered a consolation. Big Brother is in the spirit of heaven. But I can remind you that if you have another accident, I will not be able to save you. Long Chen said solemnly. What are you talking about? I can fall into a pit twice? Maybe next time, I will save you. Emon Yen said angrily. Long Chen was speechless for a while. Seeing that Emon Yen was all right, Long Chen bid farewell to Emon Yen. He must rush to the core of the Skyfire demon domain as quickly as possible, and he could not delay for a moment. Chapter 51:28. After Long Chen left Emon Yen, he began to approach the core. However, he was very careful all the way, and his body was still in a cursed state. Now he can't even exert 10% of his strength, and he didn't dare to be careless. The Tianhua demon realm has been restored to a vast area. If Long Chen runs in a straight line, it will take about 10 days to reach the core. Now Long Chen doesn't dare to run with all his strength, and he doesn't dare to travel in a straight line, so the speed becomes extremely slow. On the third day, Long Chen saw the figure of the monster. There were only tens of thousands of them, and they whizzed past Long Chen. Obviously they are not hunting but looking for me. It seems that they also know that I am seriously injured and need to find a place to heal. It is impossible to enter the core area so quickly. Long Chen watched the group of monsters gallop away. Just I know there's a lot of trouble. This group of monsters, in order to kill people, will definitely form a huge encirclement around the core area. They have lost an opportunity to kill Long Chen, and they will never miss this opportunity. Cut, what's the point of this? The scope of the Skyfire demon realm is so large, I don't believe you can block all paths. Thinking of this, Long Chen suddenly relaxed a lot. Even if they have 6 lineage heavenly saint-level earth demon powerhouses, and so many 3 lineage heavenly sage-level human demons, how could they block the core land within a radius of hundreds of millions of miles? Even if the blockade is completed and the power is dispersed, it is still more difficult to block Long Chen, unless Long Chen is a fool and directly hits the place guarded by the 6 Meridian Tianxing level powerhouse. Otherwise, even if there is a group of 3 Meridian Tianxing can't stop Long Chen. Although Long Chen is now half crippled, the strength of Lei Linger and Hua Linger is still there. Even though Hua Linger and Tianhua Qilin fought a huge battle, Lei Linger has always been at the peak. The most important thing is that in the chaotic space at this time, a large purple cloud covers most of the chaotic space, which is the Hongmeng purple gas formed by the purification of the golden lotus seeds. At this time, the Qianquan cauldron, the dragon bone evil moon, and the Yaoyue cauldron were bathed in the Hongmeng purple qi, fully absorbing the Hongmeng purple qi to nourish their bodies. Even this group of guys, even the half-crippled wounded Long Chen, can't take care of them, greedily sucking Hongmeng purple qi. Obviously, this Hongmeng purple qi is too important to them. As long as Long Chen is not life-threatening, they will not care about Long Chen. They are already in a semi-closed state, and Long Chen cannot easily disturb them. If it is said that Hongmeng purple qi is their biggest harvest, then that altar is the biggest nourishment in the chaotic space. The entire altar falls on the black soil, and the base of the altar has been deeply immersed in the black soil, and the black soil is swallowing its energy. Crazy release of life force. The chaotic space, which had become barren and depressed because of the appearance of a group of golden crows, became thriving again, and the listless ancient hibiscus trees also began to become full of vitality. This altar is composed of a black body, 4 demon heads and a strange egg. The demon inside is killed, and it becomes a corpse, which can just be decomposed. Now that this altar has just begun to be disintegrated, such a terrifying vitality has been released. The power of Huolinger and Leilinger is rapidly recovering and improving. No one can threaten him except for the 6-vein heavenly saint-level powerhouse. What's more, with the energy of the ancient Fusang trees, those little golden crows will grow rapidly. According to Long Chen's calculations, this altar is enough to fully raise the group of golden crows. At that time, Huolinger's strength will be raised to unimaginable heights. Huolinger's strength is improving all the time. The most important thing is that this kind of improvement, Huolinger doesn't even need to make any effort. You say how annoying it is. Long Chen waited for the group of monsters to pass, and immediately galloped forward. He sensed the monsters in this way, hid, and continued to move forward when it was safe. At this time, it is the most dangerous. The powerhouses of the earth demons are not stupid. They know that this group of monsters can't catch Long Chen, but after they find Long Chen, they can roughly lock Long Chen's position. Then concentrate on encircling and suppressing Long Chen. Therefore, the more it is on the periphery, the more dangerous it is, but the closer it is to the core area, the safer it is. Long Chen marched for 7 consecutive days, and the monsters in front became more and more dense, and Long Chen's march became more and more difficult. A few days later, the strength of the monsters ahead became stronger and stronger. They were not patrolling in line, but scattered like a sky full of stars, standing guard. However, the boundaries of the Tianhua demon domain are too large, and their battlefields also have blind spots. Long Chen continued to move along their blind spots. After another 3 days, Long Chen stopped. Because the encirclement of the monsters in front is getting smaller and denser, there is almost no blind spot, and even if there is a blind spot, Long Chen takes too much time to pass. After more than 10 days of adjustment, the curse of destiny on Long Chen has been suppressed, and now Long Chen can at least exert about 50% of his power. I can't continue to consume it, otherwise the people inside, once they are immortal, they will definitely launch a fierce attack on me. Long Chen looked at the scene in front of him and his face became serious. Long Chen knew that these powerhouses who entered the heavenly fire demon realm would hunt and kill Han Qianye frantically because of Han Qianye's pursuit order, and he couldn't wait any longer. Long Chen took out an array plate, stepped onto the array plate, and directly carried out directional teleportation. Boom! As a result, Long Chen just sent a few familiar times, and suddenly the void burst open, the space channel was penetrated, and countless space cracks around Long Chen burst open, and the terrifying cracks, like the mouth of a demon, want to suck Long Chen in. Long Chen was already prepared. He summoned the dragon's blood battle body, penetrated the void, and flew out of the crack. At this time, Long Chen was in front of an endless army of monsters, and the leader was a Sanmai Tianxing. Level monster. Roar! The 3-veined heavenly saint-level monster, seeing Long Chen, roared, and immediately crushed a domino. Obviously, this guy was venting the news. Puff! As a result, just as he crushed the domino, Huolinger smashed his head with a stick, killing him with one blow. At this time, Huolinger's shot became more and more ruthless, and the timing was just right, and he didn't give the monster a chance to react, so he killed it with a stick. After Huolinger killed the Sanmai heavenly saint-level monster with a stick, it immediately turned into a flame wing. At this time, Leilinger also appeared, and she turned into a thunder wing, so there was an extra pair behind Long Chen. Wings of thunder and fire. Boom! The wings trembled, the void split open, and the void in front was torn apart by Huolinger and Leilinger. On a crack, countless monsters were all turned into powder, and Long Chen was like lightning, galloping away from the crack. Puff puff! Leilinger and Huolinger opened the way for Long Chen, and when their wings fluttered, all the monsters in front were killed, just like a plow cart sweeping a hole, crossing the army of monsters. Boom! With a loud bang, Long Chen was flying fast, and suddenly a big hand grabbed the sky. Long Chen's wings collapsed instantly, and Long Chen was also shaken and flew out. It won't be so unlucky. When Long Chen saw the old man in front of him, there were 6 heavenly veins flashing around him, and Long Chen's heart suddenly cooled. The old man was the leader of the Earth Demon clan. He originally thought that he could smash Long Chen into powder with one palm, but he did not expect that the power of Lei Linger and Hua Linger was so powerful that it offset him, which contained the power of the 6 veins. With one blow, he slammed, opened his big hand, pressed down suddenly and killed Long Chen again. Before a palm fell, the ground under Long Chen's feet suddenly collapsed, forming a handprint that was thousands of miles in diameter. The terrifying pressure caused Long Chen's bones to crackle and almost be crushed. Buzz! At this moment, a pitch-black long knife appeared in front of Long Chen. As soon as it appeared, it zoomed in rapidly, and the sharp tip pointed directly at the old man's palm. Chapter 51:29 The Keel Evil Moon suddenly appeared, the blade stood on the ground, and the Keel Evil Moon wrapped in black gas, like the teeth of the gods and demons, pierced the sky. Puff! The big hand that covered the sky slammed on the Keel Evil Moon, blood splashed, and the sharp tip of the knife instantly pierced the palm. When the keel of the Evil Moon pierced the giant hand of the strong man of the old demon clan, the old man of the old demon clan groaned in pain, and the giant hand withered rapidly and withered in an instant. Puff! The old man's face changed greatly. Suddenly his left hand grabbed the elbow of his right hand, and with a sharp claws, he tore off his right arm abruptly. When it tore off the arm, the giant hand above the sky disappeared instantly, and the torn palm quickly withered and eventually turned into fly ash. The old man of the old demon clan was shocked and angry. When he slapped his palm on the Keel Evil Moon, his blood was like a river bursting, and he rushed into the Keel Evil Moon. If he hadn't seen the opportunity quickly, several in the time of breathing, the Keel Evil Moon will drain his whole body of chi and blood. He had never seen such a terrifying evil weapon. When the Keel Evil Moon pierced his palm, he smelled the breath of death. He never thought that Long Chen had such a terrifying magic weapon. Damn, I almost starved to death before, but now I'm going to die. Run, I really can't eat it. Keel Shiyue shouted. Before, the Keel Evil Moon needed to be digested because it was too full. Later, it was forcibly awakened by Chen Kuan-ding to help Long Chen fight, and the awakened Keel Evil Moon discovered the Hongmeng purple chi. A few mouthfuls. The Keel Evil Moon just planned to continue the retreat. Long Chen encountered danger again, and the Keel Evil Moon shot again. When it pierced the palm of the old man of the demon clan, he felt the terrifying blood and the power of the dragon chi, instinctively fierce. Suck. As a result, this sudden inhalation made it even more uncomfortable, because it was an artifact, and the feeling of being blasted couldn't be expressed in words. Buzz! At this moment, a burst of discs lit up under Long Chen's feet, and the figure disappeared in an instant. Where to escape? Seeing that Long Chen was about to escape, the old man was furious and shot it with a palm. However, at the moment when the shot was shot, he retracted his palm again, opened his mouth, and shot out a bloody arrow. Boom! The location of Long Chen was penetrated by the blood arrow, but after the change just now, his speed was a little slower, and Long Chen had taken the opportunity to escape. It turned out that the old man took action to interrupt Long Chen's transmission, and as a result, the shadow of the Keel Evil Moon reappeared. The old man has already suffered a big loss. How can he touch it again? He didn't know that even if he slapped it with one palm, the Keel Shiyue wouldn't dare to suck his blood. It was too late for the old man to temporarily change his moves, and Long Chen had already sent it out. Buzz! The distance of Long Chen's transmission is not far, only tens of thousands of miles away, because long-distance transmission requires longer guidance time, and the conditions are not allowed at all. The short-distance teleportation can be completed almost instantly, and it is not easy to be interrupted, but the distance of tens of thousands of miles is enough to let Long Chen get rid of the threat of the old man temporarily. Stop for me! The old man of the old demon clan roared and quickly chased after him. Unfortunately, his strength is far stronger than Long Chen, but his speed is slower than Long Chen. Seeing that the distance from Long Chen is getting farther and farther, he is so angry that he gritted his teeth and let out a roar. As soon as his roar came out, countless roars sounded in the distance. Obviously, the old man of the demon clan was gathering all the monsters to surround Long Chen. Boom! There was a roar in front of Long Chen, and countless monsters were gathering crazily, rushing towards Long Chen, the old man of the demon clan, who used a special magical power, and his voice could be transmitted to the monsters regardless of the distance. Puff puff. Long Chen's body is surrounded by flames and thunder, forming a field of thunder and fire with a radius of 100 miles. All the monsters hit by the field are turned into powder. Fortunately, Long Chen did not encounter Sanmai Tianxing level human beings and demons. No matter how many ordinary monsters there are, they cannot stop Long Chen from moving forward. There was the leader of the Earth Demon clan in the back, grinning, and looking at its hideous appearance. It would be nonsense to say that he was not afraid. At this time, Long Chen's heart has to be mentioned in his throat. The most important thing is that the curse on Long Chen has not disappeared. If he is blocked, he will die today. Suddenly, Long Chen felt the heat wave. At that moment, Long Chen's spirit was lifted, and the heat wave hit, which meant that he was about to come to the core of the Skyfire Demon domain. At the core of the Skyfire Demon domain, there is a sacred skyfire burning, and the monsters dare not approach. As long as they enter the core area, Long Chen can completely get rid of the threat of the monsters. There was ecstasy on Long Chen's face, and the leader of the demon clan's face became more and more ugly. At this time, Long Chen was getting farther and farther away from him, and it was impossible to catch up. However, he still holds a glimmer of hope. That is, someone who is a demon-level powerhouse can stop Long Chen. Even if he takes a hard blow and buys him a breathing time, he can catch up with Long Chen. Unfortunately, a stick of incense has passed, and the monsters who heard the news are all a step behind. No one can stop Long Chen head-on, which makes him more and more anxious and angry, but there is nothing to do. Suddenly a heat wave hit, the flames in the air became more and more intense, and the earth under the feet, in the endless ravines, faintly had dark red magma flowing. At this time, Long Chen saw a lot of figures around. Many of them were disheveled, there were many bloodstains on their bodies, and they were desperately flying towards the core. Obviously, these people have gone through many twists and turns along the way and finally got here, and only came here at this time, which means that they were teleported to the edge area from the beginning, and they were able to kill here. On the one hand, they are really powerful. On the other hand, it also shows that their luck is against the sky. You must know that under the heavy blockade of the monsters, it is unbelievable that there is no encounter with the Three Veins Heavenly Saint-level demons. At this time, they were running frantically, because they also knew that as long as they entered the edge of the core land and could see the skyfire, they would be completely safe. However, while they were running, suddenly demonic energy rose into the sky, and the terrifying demonic energy made their scalps numb and their bones cold, and they almost couldn't lift it up in one breath. When they saw the leader of the demon clan, they were so frightened that they fled in desperation. Fortunately, they saw the target it was pursuing, and when they saw the figure of Long Chen, they all opened their mouths. Long Chen ran all the way, and when he saw the flames burning in the distance, he immediately looked up to the sky and laughed. "Ha, old guy, there is a saying in our human race that you must say goodbye after 1,000 miles. Go back and wash your neck and wait for me to cut it." After Long Chen finished speaking, people had already rushed into the endless flames, and the leader of the Earth Demon clan, after chasing the edge of the flames, stopped immediately. Even if it was a 6-vein Heavenly Saint-level powerhouse, he would not dare to step into it. Chase Long Chen in the flames. He gritted his teeth and could only watch Long Chen run wild in the flames. The figure gradually disappeared, and the anger in his eyes was even more poisonous than the sky fire in front of him. Chapter 51:30 Call. Long Chen passed through a flame barrier, and there was a sea of fire on the ground. Looking closely, it was a fire that was as high as 100 miles. In the flame, there is divine power, but it will not bring pressure to people. On the contrary, it will make people feel warm and reassuring. The flame flickered, and when Long Chen walked in it, the touch was slightly warm, which made people feel calm and peaceful, and it could give people a great sense of security. This is the core of the heavenly fire demon realm. However, it is still on the periphery of the core. According to legend, it is only after passing through the 9-layer flame barrier to truly enter the core. However, entering here, Long Chen is already considered safe, because the powerhouses of the Earth Demon clan cannot enter here. The flames here contain sacred power. Although they are not pure, if the powerful people of the Earth Demons enter the flames, it will cause the power of the entire fire domain to be suppressed. It is said that the monsters under the Emperor will be destroyed in an instant, crushed. Long Chen entered the flame barrier, just about to breathe a sigh of relief. Suddenly in the flames, a long sword was like a bolt of lightning, piercing the sea of fire, and stabbed at Long Chen. The power of destiny? Long Chen was shocked. The power of destiny in this sword was purer than all the forces of destiny he encountered. Long Chen slammed, the dragon scales covered the whole body, punched out, the long sword in the middle, and with a loud bang Long Chen groaned, but felt a huge force coming, and the person flew backwards. Puff! Long Chen spurted out a mouthful of blood. This sword shocked his 5 internal organs and almost exploded. It was the first time that Long Chen had encountered such a pure power of destiny, even his dragon blood. Unstoppable. What is the youngest dean of Lingshao Academy, but a guy who doesn't live up to his name? Your time of death is coming, hee. The Emperor's magic weapon belongs to me. At this moment, in the flames, a long-haired man came out, holding a colorful long sword in his hand, and it was his sword that sent Long Chen flying. When he saw the man, Long Chen's pupils shrank. Immortal realm. When the man's cultivation base was clearly seen, Long Chen's heart sank suddenly, and he was still late when someone broke through immortality so quickly. I thought it would take a lot of work to defeat you. Unexpectedly, you are much weaker than I thought. If you can hold 10 moves in my hands, even if you win. The man pointed at Long Chen with a long sword. Behind him the roulette of destiny is spinning, and the vast divine might suppresses the surrounding flames. Originally, the destiny roulette of the ordinary destiny had no color, and there was no pattern, because the destiny of the God Venerable Realm only had the most primitive destiny roulette. But after immortality, they have the strength to awaken the destiny roulette. In the destiny roulette behind this long-haired man, there are thousands of cyan vortexes, and the vortex is flowing, and the vast destiny of destiny overwhelms Long Chen. Pain in the flesh, like a knife cut. It has to be said that the destiny roulettes begin to awaken after they have advanced to immortality. Their strength is hundreds of times stronger than before they were not advanced. The power of destiny has been qualitatively improved, and they are about to enter the ranks of the real destiny. Long Chen took a deep breath and slowly suppressed the injury in his body. Looking at the long-haired man, he said, "It seems that you have been waiting for me here for a while." Call. The long-haired man swung his sword, and the sword pointed at Long Chen. A tyrannical pressure locked Long Chen. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to kill Long Chen, and said lightly, "That's right, I've been waiting for you here for 7 days. I'm in a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles, and I set up a peep array to monitor everything here. I'm betting my luck. Just entering the core area, I did not take the Brahma road, nor did I go to the Bridge of Heaven and Night, nor did I go to see the legendary origin stone of heavenly fire. I know that with my strength, I can't compete with those monsters at all. If I don't get it right, I will be killed by them. Instead, I might as well take a gamble and use the power of heavenly fire on the periphery to attack immortality as soon as possible, and take advantage of the advanced advantages to hunt you down. Facts have proved that my choice is correct. With such a hasty promotion, it is easy to leave flaws in the realm, which leads to an unstable foundation. Do you think it is worth it?" Long Chen asked with some puzzlement. "Since you choose to gamble, of course you have to have gambling capital, and you have to pay a price, but the risk is nothing compared to the income. After all, your life is worth a human emperor's divine weapon. More importantly, I will become a hero of Brahma Pill Valley. With Brahma Pill Valley as a backer, I will not be afraid of anyone." The long-haired man said proudly. "Listen to your tone. After you have the backing of Brahma Pill Valley, are you planning to give up and continue to practice?" Long Chen asked curiously. "Haha, your question is so naive. What am I trying to cultivate for? Isn't it just to be able to live carefree? With the backing of Brahma Pill Valley, do I still need to work hard every day? I have a long life to enjoy wealth, glory, power, and beauty. I have a mental illness, so I continue to practice." The man laughed. full of disdain in his laughter. Long Chen was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, "Your point of view is very strange, but it seems to have some truth. Who can enjoy life without worry, who is willing to practice hard. Long Chen, I'll give you a chance. I don't have to kill you, just be obedient and capture it. You resist, there is no way to survive, surrender, you may still have a chance." The man said. Long Chen shook his head and said, "Actually, I quite like your point of view, but in some places, I don't agree. Dreams are there, what if they come true? However, if you want to realize your dreams, you need to work hard. Because the strength is not enough, the dream is no longer a dream, but a dream and a dream. After all, a dream is a dream, and you will wake up. Just think about it, don't take it too seriously. Are you going to be stubborn?" The man's face turned cold for a moment, and the pressure of destiny became more and more solid. "I'm sorry, you lost the bet this time." Long Chen spread his hands and said, "However, I have to thank you for letting me understand the changes after the immortality of the Son of Destiny. For this thank you, I decided to give you a chance. You go, I will not kill you. I don't know what the so-called idiot is, since you are shameless, then you should die." The long-haired man's eyes became sharp in an instant, and the long sword in his hand was raised high. In the wheel of destiny behind him, endless vortexes circulated, and a sword ripped apart the sky, and cut down on Long Chen head-on. Facing the man's sword, Long Chen's hands slowly formed a seal, followed by the thunder wings and flame wings behind Long Chen, which turned into two big hands that covered the sky and slammed together. Boom! With a loud bang, the man's long sword was cut in half, and Leihu's palms were sandwiched between the palms. At that moment, a look of horror appeared on the man's face. "Hey, I'll give you a chance, but unfortunately you're useless, so I'm sorry." The printing method in Long Chen's hand changed, and suddenly endless black runes emerged from Long Chen's eyebrows, spread to the thunder and fire palms, and poured into the man's long sword. "What is that?" The man screamed in horror. He wanted to twitch the long sword, but found that the long sword was not moving at all. He wanted to let go of his hands, but his hands were sucked by the long sword. He could only watch helplessly. The black rune died. He blackened his long sword and invaded his palms. Boom! When the black rune invaded his palms, the fate wheel behind the man burst open, and then the man lost his eyes and fell to the ground so softly. Chapter 51:31. The man was dead, but the black ripples were still eating away at his body. In the blink of an eye, the man's body was corroded, leaving only a set of clothes. What if it's immortal? I can resist the curse of destiny for so long, and you, just a part of it, can't bear it. Long Chen shook his head. Long Chen was really surprised by the man's strength before. The strength of this man, even compared with the Sanmai Tianxing, is not much inferior. Although he may not be able to win, at least he has the strength to fight. And Long Chen is still in a cursed state at this time, and his strength is only 50%, so he was caught off guard by this guy and suffered a big loss. However, Long Chen's strength was suppressed, but Huolinger and Lei Linger's strength increased rapidly. Even if his strength reached the Three Veins Heavenly Saint level, he was not a match for the two of them. Originally, Long Chen planned to let Huolinger kill him, but Long Chen suddenly thought, this guy is the son of destiny, can he graft the curse of destiny on him? As a result, when Long Chen drove the curse of destiny, the power of the curse actually regarded the man as one with Long Chen and attacked indiscriminately. The man sucked half of the power of the curse in Long Chen in an instant. After so many days of consumption and suppression, the power of the curse in Long Chen's body is less than half of the original, but even so, the terrifying power of the curse cursed the man to death in an instant, the destiny of the immortal realm. The sun did not have the slightest resistance to resist, which shows how ruthless Lu Fan's move was. The man sucked half of the power of the curse in Long Chen's body. Long Chen's whole person suddenly became refreshed, and the stagnant blood began to flow slowly. The weakening of the power of the curse made his strength begin to grow slowly. Now Long Chen can exert about 70% of his combat power. This method is feasible. This is much faster than consuming it myself. Long Chen looked surprised. It doesn't matter if you hit the curse of destiny, as long as there is a child of destiny around you, give him half of it, find a few more people, and divide it a few times, and you'll be done. These days, he has found a way to resist this curse, and his body has a certain resistance. In addition, Long Chen has also learned how to temporarily seal the power of this curse. Although this curse of destiny is terrifying, Long Chen has already with the coping method. The next time you encounter it, you will definitely not be so embarrassed. Now, I found a new way, and Long Chen suddenly came to the spirit. After Long Chen planned to come in, he quickly wiped out the power of the curse, and then entered the central area. Now Long Chen doesn't care. Long Chen rushed to the core area so unscrupulously. As Long Chen advanced, the flames on the ground became denser and denser, and the flames fluctuated and became more and more intense. However, although these flames fluctuate strongly, they are harmless to people. Being in the flames will make people feel comfortable and comfortable. In the flames, there have been powerful fluctuations in the heavenly way. At this time, Long Chen felt that there was a strong power of heaven. With the fluctuation of the flame, it was slowly injected into the body, and his bottleneck began to show signs of loosening. It's really amazing, this is just a peripheral area, and it has such an effect. Isn't the Brahma Road and the Bridge of Heaven and Night even more anti-sky? Long Chen was excited, did not dare to delay, and rushed forward. Buzz, suddenly the flame cracked and a sharp claws flew out. The sharp claws were like eagle claws, but they had scales. The timing of the shot was just right. Long Chen was caught by the eagle claws before he could react. Huh! A wild laughter came, but just as the sound of wild laughter sounded, it instantly turned into a scream of horror. The endless curse runes appeared on the eagle's claws, and the eagle's claws exploded in an instant. Long Chen's figure flew out, and then he saw a man with wings on his back and fled in horror. However, he only flapped his wings twice, and his entire body instantly decayed, turning into dust in the void. The stench of debris scattered across the sky, and was burned into nothingness by the flames. With this strength, come to ambush me too? Long Chen was speechless for a while. The powerhouse of this monster clan has just advanced to immortality. Although he is the son of destiny, his destiny roulette has not changed much. Compared with the previous son of destiny, there is too much difference. It is estimated that this person is in a hurry to hunt Long Chen, and he came out to find Long Chen without waiting for the realm to stabilize. You said that he was unlucky, he met Long Chen. You said that he was lucky, he met Long Chen. The curse in Long Chen's body was split in half again. Long Chen suddenly felt a lot more relaxed, his confidence greatly increased, and Long Chen continued to move forward. Soon they met a few guys who wanted money and didn't want to die. They were ecstatic when they saw Long Chen, and they all died in Long Chen's hands. Although these people can no longer threaten Long Chen, but without relying on the power of Huolinger and Lei Linger, Long Chen wants to kill them, but it takes a lot of effort. This alerted Long Chen. These people are just ordinary destiny, and the power of destiny roulette has not been fully awakened. It is so difficult to deal with, which is not a good sign. To put it bluntly, this is a group of children of destiny who are not in the stream, and they belong to the type that is incomparable. The real powerhouse will not give up their future because of the temptation of Long Chen. And those half-step destiny sons and destiny people all know how much they weigh. They know that even if they are promoted to immortality first, they have no chance to kill Long Chen, so they will choose to advance with peace of mind. Only this group of half-hearted sons of destiny felt that they might be able to kill Long Chen by relying on the advantages of their realm. The strength of this group of people is average, but the strength is average, which can already cause a certain pressure on Long Chen. Then the powerful Tianjiao, because their strength is terrifying, their strength increase ratio is definitely more terrifying than these half-hearted sons of destiny. If Long Chen encounters them and the realm is suppressed, Long Chen will definitely suffer a big loss, which is a wake-up call for Long Chen. Long Chen does not dare to delay any longer and gallops forward at the fastest speed. After the help of those people, the curse of destiny in Long Chen's body has been completely eliminated, and he has returned to his peak state at this time. Along the way, I encountered a few people who intercepted them, and they were all killed by Huolinger and Lei Linger. They were escorted by the two of them. When they passed through the 9-layer flame barrier, a sea of lava appeared in front of them. When Long Chen approached the sea of lava, the pores of Long Chen's body began to open uncontrollably, greedily absorbing the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. In the spiritual energy, there are vast laws of heaven and earth, and Long Chen felt his bottleneck has already been around the corner. Boom! In the endless sea of lava, countless figures are sitting on the void, and they are all over the robbery, endless robbery clouds hovering above their heads, descending thunder, baptizing their flesh. It's Long Chen. When Long Chen appeared, the powerhouses who were transcending the robbery suddenly revealed their murderous intentions, and even brought the robbery cloud to kill the dragon dust. Chapter 5132, A Bunch of Idiots. Long Chen sneered when he saw this scene. This group of guys actually wanted to rely on the power of the robbery to trap Long Chen, and they delusionally wanted to deal with the dragon dust with the power of the robbery, and then surrounded and attacked him. This trick may be useful for ordinary cultivators, but for Long Chen, this is because his IQ is not enough, and he uses his life to make up for it. Lei Linger, kill them all, don't keep your hands. Long Chen gave Lei Linger an order directly. After receiving Long Chen's order, Lei Linger was overjoyed. For her, this group of heavenly tribulations had a fatal temptation. Boom! Lei Linger's jade hand made a move, and a blade of thunder was in his hand, and the sword was cut out. Countless robbery clouds and robbers were split into powder by Lei Linger's sword. Buzz! Behind Lei Linger, the destiny roulette appeared, and under the rotation of the roulette, the power of thunder between heaven and earth was absorbed by the destiny roulette like a long whale, and there was not a drop left. Lei Linger slashed down with one sword, and hundreds of tribulation fighters were killed with one blow. The powerhouses who had rushed to half of them, when they saw this scene, were so frightened that they lost their minds and ran away. Puff, puff, puff. However, as soon as they moved, Lei Linger had already transformed into the God Emperor. His wings ripped apart the void, killing all these robbers. In the distance, someone saw Long Chen, but before they decided whether to take action against Long Chen, everything was over, thousands of tribulation clouds disappeared, and those who disappeared together with the robbery clouds, as well as those who transcended the tribulation. A group of destiny people dare to attack me, who gave you the courage? Long Chen snorted coldly, and he continued to rush forward like a bolt of lightning. This sea of lava is vast, and there is no end in sight. Long Chen continues to fly forward. He found that the people who have crossed the calamity here are basically those who are destined, ranging from 5-star destinies to 9-star destinies. To the half-step son of destiny, but I can't see a real son of destiny. Long Chen knows that this is just the periphery of the land of tribulation. Along the way, Long Chen encountered a lot of guys who didn't have long eyes to stop them, but they were all killed by Lei Linger, and their tribulation clouds were all killed by Lei Linger. Devour. At this time, Lei Linger is no longer the original Lei Linger. She swallowed too much thunder power in the chaotic space. Although this is an immortal calamity, it is obviously not enough for her. Threaten. Long Chen found that after swallowing these calamities, Lei Linger's breath was no longer so scattered, and began to show signs of gradually shrinking and compressing. After communicating with Lei Linger, Long Chen knew that Lei Linger's power had reached a bottleneck. She had too much power of thunder, and because it was too huge, it had begun to exceed her controllability. Moreover, these energies come from the power of thunder transformed from the absorption of those corpses. The quantity is sufficient, but the quality is insufficient. Lei Linger controls the endless power of thunder, just like one person has millions of heroes, but there is no general to rule them, and they cannot be effectively united. At this time, Lei Linger was even more eager for the power of heavenly tribulation than Long Chen, because the power of heavenly tribulation was her source of power. With the power of the robbery, she can compress the original power and produce qualitative changes. Otherwise, there are so many thunder powers in the sky, but they cannot exert their due power. As the power of the robbery was swallowed by Lei Linger, her original, loose, and unable to gather the power of thunder began to become sticky and solid, so her breath began to become gradually fierce. Stand up. While Long Chen was flying, the color of the sea of lava in front of him changed. Originally, the color of the lava was dark red, but at this time it was blood red. Not only did the color become brighter, but even the breath became sacred and magnificent. A bit of rage. The flames here finally have a powerful destructive power. When Long Chen stepped into this sea of lava, his body suddenly tightened, and the powerful pressure made Long Chen's body shake. It's no wonder that this group of people only survives the tribulation on the periphery. They can't bear the pressure here at all. Even if they can barely bear it, they may not be able to bear the calamity here. Long Chen suddenly understood that it is not only the color of the flames here. Changed, even the rules have changed. The laws of heaven and earth are no longer gentle, and the violent coercion makes the soul tremble. If you go through a calamity here, you will lose your life if you don't get it right. Even the Son of Destiny is equally dangerous. Long Chen just entered this area, and suddenly there was a crisp sound, the void cracked, and a bolt of lightning shot down, hitting the top of Long Chen's head. As soon as the lightning fell, it was smashed by Lei Linger's palm and turned into a rune of thunder in the sky. Buzz. In the thunder rune, a transparent figure appeared, and a thin and long sharp sword appeared. It had just appeared, and it had already reached the center of Long Chen's eyebrows. Fate Hunting Clan? Long Chen was startled, unexpectedly encountering a Fate Hunting Clan powerhouse who was going through a calamity. The man struck out with a sword, and the sharp sword chi made Long Chen's brow painful. Long Chen's heart froze, his big hand opened, and the blood-colored scales appeared on the palm of his hand, and he grabbed it against the sharp sword. Call. Long Chen grabbed it with one claws, and as a result, he grabbed an empty space, and the sharp sword disappeared out of thin air, and then a figure behind Long Chen emerged. Boom! The figure had just appeared, and before he made any attack moves, a long flame stick silently smashed on his head, and with a loud bang, the strong man of the Life Hunting Clan was knocked to death by Hua Linger's stick. The strength of the Destiny Son of the Destiny Hunter Clan is very good. Although he has not yet advanced to immortality, his strength has undergone earth-shaking changes after the baptism of the heavenly tribulation. However, his attention was focused on Long Chen and Lei Linger, and he never thought that there was Hua Linger. This is the core of the heavenly fire demon domain. The strong flame power between the heavens and the earth covers up the fluctuations of Hua Linger's breath. Therefore, the powerhouse of the Life Hunting Clan did not understand what happened until he died. Hua Linger has become more and more insidious now. After entering this area, she began to hide and quietly followed Long Chen. In this sea of flames, almost no one could find her. As for those miscellaneous fish, it is enough to have Lei Linger's shot. She was secretly protecting Long Chen. The powerhouse of the Life Hunting Clan, there were still many unique tricks to be used, so she was killed in a confused way. Boom! The powerhouse of the Life Hunting Clan was killed, and Lei Linger's fate will turned around, directly swallowing the huge robbery cloud in the sky. After the swallowing was completed, Lei Linger's delicate body was shaken. The heavenly tribulation of the Son of Heaven contained the essence of heavenly thunder. The vast power of thunder in her body contracted violently. The benefits are even bigger, and at that moment, Lei Linger's eyes began to shine. Chapter 5133. We can't delay any longer. We must rush into the core land at the fastest speed, otherwise more and more people will complete the calamity, and we will have no chance. Long Chen saw that countless people were here to transcend the tribulation, and the robbery was rolling in, but they did not interfere with each other, and felt a little bad. The powerhouses here are all sons of destiny, and all of them have amazing breaths. Some people have reached the late stage of the catastrophe and have to complete the calamity at any time. If it is at the same level, Long Chen will not care about these sons of destiny at all, but the son of destiny in immortal realm will bring some pressure to Long Chen. If the number of these children of destiny reaches a certain level, and even has the ability to put Long Chen to death, this is just an ordinary child of destiny. The Lu Fan, Minglong Wusheng, Luo Yujiao and others have advanced to immortality, Long Chen is even stronger. Also have to drink hate. Die. After Huolinger just killed the life-hunting powerhouse, he suddenly attracted the attention of the people around him. In an instant, there were 7 tribulation powerhouses, rushing towards Long Chen with the calamity of heaven, and one of them was demonic. Soaring to the sky, the speed was as fast as lightning, and he rushed in front of Long Chen for the first time. Puff, as a result, just as he rushed there, he was slashed into a blood mist by Lei Linger's sword. At this time, Lei Linger's eyes were full of violent energy. The power of robbery. Puff puff. Not to mention that these sons of destiny have not advanced to immortality. Even if they have advanced immortality, they are not Lei Linger's opponents. You must know that Lei Linger has the strength to kill the 3-merit Tianxing level powerhouse. Lei Linger's attack was fierce and fierce. These sons of destiny rushed forward without even having a chance to escape. They were all killed. The ring behind Lei Linger trembled, directly absorbing all their calamity. Buzz Long Chen galloped away in the endless catastrophe, but anyone who dared to stop Long Chen was killed by Lei Linger. Long Chen flew all the way, his eyes looked in all directions. He was looking for the silhouettes of Baiying Xue and others, but unfortunately he didn't see any, not even the shadow of the Bailong family. No way, this core area is too big, like a huge disc. Long Chen can only go straight when he enters the most core place, and the range he can search is less than 1/10,000 of the entire area. But at this time, when he was not worried about Baiying Xue, Feng Yu, Hu Xiaoyu and the others, Long Chen rushed forward and scrupulously when he saw that he had no acquaintances. Boom! There was an enchantment in front of him. When Long Chen passed through the enchantment, his body trembled violently, and he entered a world of blue fire. The power of the flame here is even more violent, and the terrifying high temperature seems to ignite the human soul. Obviously, the flame world here is 1 level higher than the area where it was just now. Entering the blue flame world, Long Chen saw countless figures, their breath fluctuated up and down. It turned out that they had not yet begun to transcend the calamity, but, seeing that they were already shrouded in tribulation clouds, they would soon enter the transcendent state. When Long Chen arrived, many people were disturbed. When they looked at Long Chen, their expressions changed. Some people showed murderous intentions in their eyes, and some people showed fear in their eyes. Fortunately, it seems that I am not too late. Seeing this scene, Long Chen breathed a sigh of relief. The more one enters the central area, the more powerful the practitioners here are, and the more powerful people are, the more they attach importance to advancement. Before they advance, they will make adequate preparations, and at the same time, adjust their energy to the best state, so that their bottlenecks will naturally break through, in order to achieve no time to advance. Compared with the people outside who are eager to achieve success, the people here are stronger and more stable. In fact, the same talent, different Xinxing and wisdom will cause a huge distance. Boom! There were bursts of roaring sounds in the distance. Obviously, someone had begun to transcend the calamity. However, these people were not anxious because others had transcended the calamity first. They were still sitting in the void, waiting for their bottleneck to break naturally. Open! Puff! Long Chen saw not far away, there was a demon powerhouse, staring at him with killing intent, looking like he could take action at any time. Long Chen was not polite to him. Lei Linger attacked from left and right. Long Chen was hard on the front. Chong! A finger penetrated its eyebrows. With Huolinger and Lei Linger around, this guy, even if his strength is good, has no resistance at all. He was squeezed by the thunder and fire of the two, and he couldn't move. He could only watch Long Chen pierce it with a single blow. Brus. Good guy, the road to Brahma is still ahead. After Long Chen's strong soul search, he knew that if he wanted to enter the road of Brahma, he still needed to pass through this blue sea of fire. Walk! Long Chen greeted Lei Linger and Huolinger, and continued to fly forward. As a result, just after flying for half a stick of incense, he was blocked by a monster who was robbing. Boom! Lei Linger held a thundering long sword, and the sword fell. Long Chen was shocked that the demon strong man spread his wings and used his wings to block Lei Linger's blow. You know, Lei Linger's full-strength attack. Even a three-brained heavenly saint-level powerhouse can't stop it, but this guy blocked it. However, this guy blocked it, but after a blow, his wings were broken, blood spurted wildly, and he was attacked by Hualinger, smashed his head, and died. Wow, what a pure power of thunder. When Lei Linger devoured the man's calamity, she couldn't help screaming with excitement. Long Chen didn't care to ask about Lei Linger's situation and continued to run wildly. Along the way, he encountered a few tribulation powerhouses blocking the way, but all of them were still killed by Lei Linger and Hualinger. After half an hour, a vortex of thousands of miles appeared in front of him. When he saw this vortex of thousands of miles, Long Chen's heart became nervous. Entering this vortex is the Road of Brahma, which is the road that De Brahma traveled when he was young. It is rumored that only De Brahma has passed this road. This is the only way for the disciples of Brahma Pill Valley. They have to follow the footsteps of Brahma and explore the Supreme Avenue. There are footprints left by Brahma and spiritual thoughts left by Brahma. There are many dangers and tests. There are countless followers of Brahma who are blessed by the power of faith. Even if they fail the test, they will not worry about their lives. But others are different. Others do not have the protection of Brahma, so they need to rely on their own abilities to break through. For Brahma Pill Valley, this is a blessed land, but for others, it is a place of great evil. Long Chen stood in front of the whirlpool. Looking at the whirlpool, there was a layer of flame enchantment, and a mocking smile appeared on his face. De Brahma, your father Long is here. Chapter 5134. Long Chen walked slowly towards the vortex, and the enchantment in front of the vortex had countless flame runes circulating on it. When approaching the enchantment, there was a faint sound of sacred and solemn chanting. The scripture recited is the Great Brahma Sutra, which is the gate set up by the Brahma Pill Valley. Only the disciples of the Brahma Pill Valley and those who have the Brahma Pill Valley token can enter this gate. Long Chen has inquired that there is a core in the core of the Tianhua demon domain, and the most core place is called Tianxing Illusionary Sea. In the heavenly star Illusory Sea, there is a divine stone. It is rumored that it is the stone of flames formed at the beginning of the birth of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. It represents the source of the heavenly fire in this world. This stone is also known as the Source Stone of Tianhua. With the Source Stone of Tianhua, there is the demon realm of Tianhua, and if you want to enter the demon realm of Tianhua, there are 2 shortcuts. One is the Bridge of Heaven and Night, and the other is the Road of Brahma. Long Chen did not deliberately choose the Brahma Road, but the Brahma Road just happened to be the closest to him, so he came here. Before reaching the barrier, Long Chen slowly stretched out his hand. He looked solemn and recited the scriptures. A flame rune appeared in the palm of his hand, and the rune became brighter and brighter as Long Chen chanted the scriptures. Snapped, Long Chen slapped his hand, and the enchantment collapsed. How can the enchantment condensed from the great Brahma scriptures block my way? Long Chen snorted coldly and stepped into the vortex. Buzz. When Long Chen stepped into the vortex, he entered a white world in an instant, and the white flames rose, forming a sea of flames. In the boundless sea of flames, there is a road, paved on the sea of flames, all the way to the distance, with no end in sight. The white flame is full of divine power, which is awe-inspiring, and the road is composed of endless flame runes. When Long Chen saw the road, although he was already prepared, he was still shocked. This is the scripture of the Great Brahma Sutra. When he saw the road, Long Chen recognized the origin of those runes at a glance. At that moment, a figure suddenly appeared in Long Chen's mind, walking through the sea of flames. Every step he took, there would be endless runes under his feet. As he moved forward, the runes were intertwined to form a road. That figure is De Brahma. Long Chen seems to have seen the appearance of De Brahma when he walked this road. What shocked and angry Long Chen most was that De Brahma at that time, like him, was a god. How is this possible? Long Chen was shocked and angry. He couldn't believe the picture that appeared in his mind. Don't question, that is the great Brahma, and it is the great Brahma in the same realm as you. Qin Ding replied. Long Chen looked at the road of flames intertwined with runes under his feet. It has been immortal and still exudes terrifying power. In front of this road, Long Chen looks so small. Long Chen has always been confident, but today he has suffered a great blow. The road that De Brahma has traveled is sacred and magnificent, and it is accompanied by the will of De Brahma. At that moment, Long Chen seems to be a person, against a cosmic sky. He looked so powerless. At that moment, Long Chen was stunned. He had always aimed to defeat the great Brahma. Now, when he saw the road of Brahma, his confidence seemed to be shattered in an instant. Not to mention the current great Brahma, even the great Brahma who used to take this road can kill him thousands of times with a wave of his hand, and the two are not on the same level at all. You don't have to feel inferior. Brahma has such achievements because he has a good master, but you don't. Almost everything he had was given to him by his master, and everything in your hands was earned by yourself. In addition, you are in different eras. He was in the most prosperous period of the 9 heavens at that time, and you were in the era of the end of the law, so it caused a huge distance. However, a new era has come. You are at the cusp of a new era. The pattern of 9 days and 10 places is undergoing great changes, and you still have a chance. Chen Kuan Ding comforted Long Chen and said. Long Chen gritted his teeth and said, everything he has was given by his master, but in the end he betrayed his master. Chen Kuan Ding sighed and said, humans are the most incomprehensible creatures in this world. You make people love and hate, and be happy and afraid. At that moment, Chen Kuan Ding's voice became a little complicated, and it seemed to fall into a distant memory. Long Chen. At this moment, in the milky white flame, there was a scream, and a man wrapped in white flame was looking at Long Chen in shock. It turns out that the Brahma road is full of the power of faith. The believers of Brahma are here, tempered by the fire of faith, which can greatly sublimate the body and soul. The most important thing is that there is no danger in tempering the flesh here. The man was wearing Brahma Pill Valley clothes, and at first glance, he was a disciple of Brahma Pill Valley. When he saw Long Chen, he was shocked at first, and then his face was ferocious. With the long sword in his hand, he went straight to Long Chen to kill. The 7 stars' destiny dare to be so arrogant? Long Chen snorted coldly. Snapped. Long Chen grabbed his big hand and held the long sword, but at the moment when Long Chen held the long sword, the terrifying power erupted on the long sword, and Long Chen was shaken by the palm of his hand. Grab that long sword. No, it's weird, his power. At that moment, Long Chen's heart moved. This sword contained vast fluctuations, and at the same time, it seemed that there were many other powers of the same origin superimposing. The disciple of the Brahma Pill Valley saw that Long Chen suffered a loss, and suddenly became arrogant, and the long sword shook and took Long Chen's throat. Snapped, however, this time, the long sword was caught by Long Chen's hand again. This time, Long Chen's big hand was covered with blood-colored dragon scales. Then die. Long Chen snorted coldly, grabbed the long sword in his big hand, and pushed it forward. The long sword in the hands of the Brahma Pill Valley disciple let go, and the hilt slammed into his chest with a loud bang, and the whole person was shaken into blood mist. Puff puff. Long Chen killed the Brahma Pill Valley disciple with one blow, and in the surrounding flames, one by one silhouettes emerged, and blood spurted wildly. It turned out that when the disciple made his move, there were hundreds of Brahma Pill Valley disciples around him, sending power into his body, and the power of that disciple's blow had surpassed that of the ordinary son of destiny. Moreover, here, the believers of De Brahma will be blessed by the power of faith, so Long Chen unexpectedly suffered a secret loss. But even if these people are 10 times stronger, it is useless. Under Long Chen's counterattack, their tricks are instantly exposed. Puff, Long Chen held a long sword and swung it violently, and a sword gas shot out, and the disciples in the white flames were cut into 2 pieces. Boom! At this moment, in the sea of flames in the distance, silhouettes emerged one after another, and these powerhouses who were originally hidden in the sea of flames appeared one after another. It turned out that they were refining their souls with the help of flames, and they were in a state of semi-sedation, and Long Chen killed so many people with one sword, and suddenly woke them up. When they saw that the person who came was Long Chen, They were shocked and angry, and at the same time roared to kill Long Chen. You can't mix with anyone, you have to follow to Brahma, then don't blame me for being ruthless today. Long Chen's eyes were full of murderous intentions, and the dragon's blood battle body was summoned, and a long scream. The sound of the dragon's roar is shocking, and the terrifying sound waves swept the sea of fire. This time, Long Chen has no reservations. Facing the enemy, Long Chen will not have the slightest mercy. Those who can come here are either disciples of Brahma Pill Valley, followers of Great Brahma, or related households of Brahma Pill Valley. For Long Chen, taking action here will not kill a person by mistake. Puff puff. The sound of the dragon's roar is like the sound of life. The sound of the dragon's roar bursts, and the air waves are billowing. Countless people are forcibly blown up. Boom! The white sea of fire set off huge waves, and in the depths of the Brahma road, countless figures were forced out, and the dragon dust kept screaming, carrying the rolling dragon chants, and galloped away towards the depths of the Brahma road. Chapter 5135 The sound of dragon howling is like the voice of death, with rolling sound waves. Anyone who is impacted by the sound waves, whether the disciples of Brahma Valley or the disciples of Brahma, is killed. The white sea of fire is red with blood, and the whole Brahma road has become a piece of hell. The dragon dust has already killed its eyes red, and there is no life left where it passes. The sound waves rolled the sea of fire. Those figures hidden in the sea of fire had no hiding place. They were all killed. Countless strong people in seclusion were awakened. Seeing the scene like purgatory in front of them, they ran away with fear. They cried out in horror, some called for help, some prayed, and some even called the name of Brahman. Unfortunately, this could not change their fate of being killed. Their speed is not as fast as that of the dragon dust. Seeing that they are swallowed up by the sound waves, some people give out unwilling roars and curses. Long Chen, if you dare to kill the disciples of Brahman, the great Brahman will not let you go. Don't be afraid, we have the blessing of Brahman God, which is immortal. As long as our faith is firm enough, we can quickly rebirth in reincarnation. Yes, death is not the end of life, but a return to the embrace of Brahma God, and there is nothing to fear. For a moment, countless people shouted, but Long Chen sniffed, "You've lied a lot, and you believe it. If you're really not afraid, what are you going to do?" Looking at this group of people who were shouting slogans and running away in fear, Long Chen did not show mercy. He knew that they were all believers of the great Brahma. At the order of the great Brahma, these people would not hesitate to wield butcher knives to him. Poop poop poop. Long Chen ran crazily along the Brahma road, and the blood fog filled the sky. Only a few disciples from Dangu were here. The more he moved forward, all kinds of creatures appeared. The believers of the great Brahma are not limited to the human race. There are also countless believers in other ethnic groups. But suddenly, the road to Brahma came to an end. At the end, there appeared a statue, which was exactly the statue of Brahma. The statue is different from what we have seen before. His legs are separated and he stands at the end of the Brahma road. The Brahma road passes under his feet. To put it bluntly, if you want to cross the Brahma road, you need to walk under its crotch. For the believers of Brahma, it is nothing to walk under the feet of Brahma God, but for Long Chen, it is a great shame. When the dragon dust is close to the statue, on the statue, the divine light flows, the endless divine light falls, and a boundary formed by the vast divine light blocks the way of the dragon dust. At this time, the disciples of Dangu and the disciples of Great Brahma were overjoyed at the appearance of the boundary, and some people shouted arrogantly, "Long Chen, you bastard, we have God's protection. You can't hurt us. Emperor's blood seal, cross kill God." Seeing the terrible faith fluctuation on the boundary, Long Chen knew that the boundary contained the will of Brahman, and only the blood seal of the emperor could be broken. The cross in the palm of the dragon dust appears, and a breath of the great emperor appears. Although it is only a trace, when it appears, the whole road of Brahma trembles, and the flames on the road of Brahma also become bright and dark. Emperor Qi, that is the heir of the supremacy of the 9 heavens. All the laws and ways in the world are under its suppression. Even the boundary of the great Brahman's belief cannot block this air. When the cross in the palm of Long Chen appeared, the disciples of Dangu and the disciples of great Brahma in the boundary suddenly trembled and watched as Long Chen slapped his palm on the boundary. Boom! With an explosion, the boundary and the statue of great Brahma burst at the same time, and the only hundreds of thousands of people around turned into nothingness in an instant. The blood was filled, and the void was punctured, exposing a big hole. Long Chen did not even think about it, but stepped in. When he stepped into the big hole, his pores opened instantly, and the power of the vast sky fire came to his face. Without any preparation, Long Chen was almost forced to vomit blood. Boom! The dragon dust roared in his ears, as if he were in the turbulent flow of space. The fierce power of fire seemed to tear the dragon dust into pieces. Under the shock of Long Chen, he had to open the red dragon body, otherwise the terrible flame would be too much for his body. Long Chen was shocked. When he crossed the Brahma road, he sensed the spatial fluctuation here. Before he arrived, the spatial fluctuation was not so violent. When the dragon dust arrived, it was like a volcano erupting, as if it was deliberately targeting the dragon dust. You know, even ordinary sons of heaven could not bear the terrible flame turbulence. There's something in front of you. Dragon dust suddenly sensed that there was a terrible energy fluctuation in front of him. He was struggling to move forward in the turbulent flow of fire. Originally, the fire spirit wanted to help him, but he was stopped by dragon dust. If the fire spirit appeared, it would certainly cause fire changes, which could easily be exposed. Long Chen knew that Lu Fan and the strong people of the Son of Destiny of Brahma Dangu must have come in long ago. Because on the way to Brahma, Long Chen did not meet a decent strong person. Obviously, they were not qualified to enter here, so they had to stay on the Brahma road to practice. Long Chen dared not be careless when he was not clear about the surrounding situation. He would sneak in quietly to explore the surrounding situation first. The dragon dust walked through the flames for half an hour. The more forward it went, the smaller the fluctuation of the space turbulence was. Later, the flow almost stopped. Soon, Long Chen saw a border. In front of the border, he saw countless figures surrounded by a 100-mile diamond crystal. When Long Chen saw the crystal stone, his heart jumped wildly, and even the fire spirit in the chaotic space could not help exclaiming. Because on that crystal stone, Long Chen felt the power of endless flame. The power of flame in this crystal stone was all-inclusive and inclusive. Long Chen felt the power of rainbow-colored flame, ice spirit divine flame, Taiyin flame, sun flame, and even the power of flaming virtual flame. It seems that this is the source of fire. Long Chen's heart was beating wildly. He didn't expect that the fire source stone contained the power of all the fires in the world. Even on the fire stone that day, Long Chen felt the fire wave he had never seen before. In the face of the terrible fire wave, Long Chen felt his soul tremble, fear and kindness. At the same time, the golden lotus seed in the chaotic space of Long Chen seemed to be inspired by something and began to become active. Dragon dust appeared, but none of the strong men in front of the heavenly fire source stone noticed. Their eyes were fixed on the heavenly fire source stone. Long Chen was very curious about what they were looking at. When he quietly walked out of the flame border and saw the scene on the fiery stone that day, his blood suddenly rose and his eyes were cold. Chapter 5136. In front of the Skyfire origin stone, countless people gathered, including humans, demons, blood, monsters, Ming clans, and many other races. Long Chen saw Lu Fan's figure. Because he was too conspicuous, he stood in front of everyone. Obviously, everyone should follow his lead. Behind Lu Fan, Long Chen saw Ming Long Wushang, Luo Yujiao, Qin Keqing, Huang Wudao, and others. Along with them, there were many unfamiliar faces, and there were dozens of people. In other words, these people who Long Chen has never seen before are all at the same level as Ming Long Wushang and others. In addition to these dozens of people, Long Chen also saw Hua Qianwu, but she could only stand behind this group of people. Obviously, she was not qualified to stand with them. And behind Hua Qianwu and others, There are millions of strong people, all of them are the terrifying children of destiny. Obviously, those who can come here must be at the level of children of destiny. Long Chen came quietly, but none of the millions of people noticed Long Chen, because all of them were focused on the heavenly fire origin stone in front of them. Below the Skyfire origin stone is a huge altar. The Skyfire origin stone is erected in the center of the altar, and above the altar, the divine light flows, and a group of figures are sealed. When he saw this group of figures, Long Chen's fist clenched for a moment. He didn't expect that, including Bai Yingxue and others, all of them would be sealed in it. Not only the disciples of the White Dragon clan, but also Hu Xiaoyu and Feng Yu, who had been separated from Long Chen before, were among them. They were all pale and their hands were printed. Brother Tianfen, thanks to you these two trash fish, otherwise I wouldn't know, they are so important to Long Chen. In front of Tianhua origin stone, Lu Fan looked at Feng Yu and Hu Xiaoyu in the enchantment, his face eerie. Actually, our chess master has been paying attention to this guy, and his every move cannot escape the surveillance of our chess master. Long Chen is daring, blasphemous, and deserves death. These two women are closely related to Long Chen. I asked Qifeng to capture them. In this way, none of the people related to Long Chen are here. The person Lu Fan called Brother Tianfan said indifferently. This man, with long hair and a shawl, wears a hat on his head, making it impossible for people to see his face clearly. This man is the leader of the younger generation in one of the 4 ancient chess sects, named Li Tianfan. This person is a sealed immemorial Tianjiao, awakened in this generation. It is said that there is a great chance to compete for the position of the sect master of the chess sect. The future chess master, even the son of Brahma, would not dare to underestimate him, so he was called Brother Tianfan, which shows how much Lu Fan valued him. Hey, all this is a clever plan by Senior Brother Tianfan. I had long expected that these two sluts would not take the Brahma road and the bridge of heaven and night, but chose the bloody road that went astray from the outside. We set the trap and captured them with little effort. Among the crowd, a man dressed in a chess sect disciple's costume with a golden mask on his face laughed. This man is the person Li Tianfan called Qifeng, and when this man called Qifeng opened his mouth, Long Chen immediately gnashed his teeth. It turned out that this person was the one who disclosed the news of the life-hunting family to him and asked him to sneak attack the guy of the life-hunting family. At that time, Long Chen felt that this person was weird, but because the information he disclosed was extremely accurate, Long Chen misunderstood that he had a grudge against the hunting clan and came to kill someone with a knife. But no matter what, Long Chen is still grateful to this guy from the bottom of his heart. After all, from the life-hunting clan, Long Chen got the news of the Purple Blood clan. Long Chen always felt that he owed this person a favor. Unexpectedly, Qizong has been using him and found out his details. Even the matter of Feng Yu and Hu Xiaoyu could not be concealed from them. The anger in Long Chen's heart was burning at the thought of being played by someone. Long Chen, you bastard who killed 1,000 knives, you dare to blaspheme the great Brahma god, I will sacrifice your friend with blood today. Lu Fan looked at the people in the altar, and a gloomy smile appeared on his face. Not yet, what are you waiting for? At this moment, a cold voice came. As soon as the voice came out, Long Chen's heart froze. He looked for the reputation and saw a figure that he couldn't believe. Yan Hong. That person was Yan Hong, the son of Yenshu who had been killed by him. When the Dragon Blood Legion clashed with the Celestials and was forced into the different fire space, Long Chen discovered the Yenshu Shenlian. Inside the Yenshu Shenlian, it came to Yan Hong, who was parasitic in the lotus of the gods of the emptiness. Brother is bad. At this moment, Huolinger exclaimed. What? Long Chen was startled. At the beginning, I left a part of my power in the Yenshu Shenlian to parasitize him. Now, I don't even feel the slightest sense. This shows that the hands and feet I left were discovered by him, and he has broken the parasite. Huolinger said. It doesn't matter, it's what was expected. Long Chen indicated that Huolinger didn't need to be nervous. Qiankuan Ding had said at the beginning that there was little hope of success in this matter, and Long Chen didn't take it to heart. It's just that Long Chen doesn't understand what these people are going to do. His primary purpose now is to know what the Brahma Pill Valley is going to do and how to rescue Bai Yingxue and others. Facing Yen Hong's cold question, Lu Fan said coldly, "To fully release the power of the Skyfire Origin Stone, you need divine power to release it. Now the altar is extracting their divine power. When the energy of the Skyfire Origin Stone is saturated, it will naturally open. Are you in a hurry? If you are really in a hurry, you can open it yourself." Obviously, Lu Fan's attitude towards Yen Hong was very unpleasant, and he didn't speak mercilessly. When Yen Hong heard this, he was instantly furious, and the black flames all over his body rose up in an instant, and then in the vision behind him, a flower covering the sky. Black Lotus appeared. "Don't think that you are the son of Brahma, and you can do whatever you want. I am the son of the great Yen Su. Be careful when you speak." Yen Hong shouted angrily. When Yen Hong showed a vision, the people around were startled, especially the black lotus flower blooming, like a demon opening his mouth, as if to devour everything in the world, making the soul cold for a while. Son of Yen Su, so what? He was beaten to death by Long Chen, and he was lucky enough to save his life. How can someone like you be arrogant in front of me? Lu Fan saw Yen Hong's appearance. Not only did he not restrain himself, but added fuel to the fire. "You want to die?" Yen Hong was furious, opened his big hand, and pointed a long spear wrapped in black flames at Lu Fan. Chapter 5137, Yen Hong, are you too temperamental? Just as Yen Hongliang unleashed his weapon, Li Tianfan, the chess master, spoke up. He looked at Yen Hong and said, "You were defeated by Long Chen. What brother Lu Fan said is the truth. If you think what Lu Fan said is a lie, it's just right. I still have the photo jade at that time. Do you want to show it to you?" Who? Hearing what Li Tianfan said, Yen Hong was instantly furious. When he was killed by Long Chen, he almost died. If he hadn't happened to be captured by Yenshu Shunlian, he would have already lost his soul. This is his biggest scar. Now that Lu Fan has uncovered it, how can he not be angry? And Li Tianfan was even more ruthless, and even released that scene, which was simply murderous. The loser, you should think about the pain, know the shame and then be brave, cover up the truth, not the wise person. Even Qin Keqing, who has always been indifferent, spoke up. Obviously, everyone here, except for Yen Hong, is almost all on Lu Fan's side. There is no way. Lu Fan is the host, and he needs to be able to open the source stone of Skyfire. Do you understand? Fairy Qin Keqing means that only idiots can cover up the truth. Huang Wudao came directly to the ground with a mocking expression. Crunch. Yen Su was targeted by everyone. At that moment, the long spear in his hand creaked, and it seemed that he was going to run wild at any time. At that moment, he became a loner, and Yen Hong's eyes were full of murderous intent. He gritted his teeth and said, "A bunch of idiots know how to hold stinky feet. You wait for me, you covet my humiliation, and I, Yen Hong, will definitely do it. 100 times as much." Even if he was as powerful as Yen Hong, he had to endure it when everyone looked around. Although Yen Hong was conceited, he thought he was not afraid of anyone. But being targeted by so many people at the same time, he also felt guilty. In addition, he came here because of the trace of the flaming void in the Skyfire Origin Stone. Lu Fan knew Yen Hong's goal, so he knew that Yen Hong didn't dare to do it, and he also knew that he would not leave until he got the flame of Yenshu. Lu Fan knew that the Yenshu lineage was not easy to provoke, but as the son of Brahma, he had a respected identity. As far as he knew, the Yenshu lineage and the Brahma lineage, the well water did not violate the river water. He did not want to provoke Yen Hong, but it did not mean that he was afraid of Yen Hong. Brother Lu has a good technique, and he was able to capture the Bailong clan quite a bit, and they were all unscathed. This technique is admirable. Yen Hong stopped talking, and Luo Yujiao of the Celestial clan spoke up. As soon as Luo Yujiao opened her mouth, everyone nodded. The Bailong clan possessed the power of sacred dragon blood, and their strength was very powerful. Especially, they were good at combining strikes, and it was very difficult to fight against them. Although Bai Yingshu's strength was nothing in front of them, When the sacred power of the entire Bailong family gathered together, it would become a monolith. Although they can take down the Bailong family with their strength, they will inevitably suffer damage under reckless fighting. Now Baing Xue and others are not injured. It seems that the battle will end as soon as the battle begins. This means even Luo Yujiao and others. People are also shocked. Lu Fan smiled slightly and said, "The Bailong clan, this group of idiots who can't eat the ancients, we already know how careful they are. We invited them here this time. These disciples are here to make sacrifices, and those old guys will use their dragon heads to stand up after the event." The transmission location of the White Dragon clan has been set up a long time ago. Except for the idiot Long Chen, all the White Dragon clan were directly sealed, and there was no room for resistance. Hearing Lu Fan's words, Long Chen's heart sank all of a sudden. Brahma Pill Valley is too insidious. It turns out that everything is under their control, and the Bailong family has been fooled. Not only Baing Xue and others were treated as sacrifices and sealed on the ring, but Bai Yingxian and others were also in danger. Obviously, Bai Yingxian and others did not know what happened. I only heard Lu Fan continue, "You are either devout followers of Brahma God, or loyal partners of my Brahma Pill Valley. We Brahma Pill Valley can't be stingy. We will use the sacred dragon blood of these white dragons to completely detonate all the power in the Skyfire Origin Stone, which means that after this time, there will be no more Skyfire Demon Domain." As soon as Lu Fan said these words, Luo Yujiao, Qin Keqing, Huang Wudao and others were all moved, and Minglong Wushang couldn't help saying, "Isn't this a huge loss to Brahma Pill Valley? In order to show the sincerity of our Brahma Pill Valley, what is this loss? Did you hear it clearly?" Afraid that everyone would not understand, Lu Fan repeated the word again. This point? Everyone's heart froze. Could it be that the fire source stone in Brahma Pill Valley is only a little loss? Seeing everyone's horrified expressions, Lu Fan smiled with great satisfaction and said, "The heritage of Brahma Pill Valley is far beyond your imagination, and of course, it also exceeds my imagination. Therefore, we will never be stingy with our Brahma Pill Valley for our loyal friends, but for our enemies." Lu Fan looked at Baing Xue and the others on the altar, with a gloomy smile on his face. "Our Brahma Pill Valley does not have the kindness of women. For those who are stubborn and ineffective, we can only remove them from this world. Erase." Everyone present was shocked by Lu Fan's words. If Brahma Pill Valley were to detonate this heavenly fire origin stone as Lu Fan said, their harvest would be unimaginable. At this time, there was even a hint of remorse in their eyes, because this time Brahma Pill Valley invited them to participate in the heavenly fire demon realm. Although they knew that there would be benefits, they did not expect the benefits to be so huge. Because each clan has its own place of inheritance, where to transcend the tribulation, it will better inherit the secret methods and magical powers of the ancestors, and will also receive the blessings of the ancestors, perfect advancement. However, the resources in the land of calamity need to flow slowly and cannot be released at one time. Therefore, they leave some people in the family to transcend tribulation, and some people come to heavenly fire demon domain to transcend tribulation. On the one hand, they give Brahma Pill Valley a face and show their attitude. On the other hand, it is also to reduce the burden on the family. Who would have thought that the Brahma Pill Valley was so generous this time that it would detonate the source stone of the Skyfire? If they knew this, they would definitely be dispatched. This is a once-in-lifetime opportunity. Once missed, there will be no more. Looking at the complicated expressions on everyone's faces, the smile on Lu Fan's face became even stronger, but he had a sneer in his heart. Even if the source stone of Tianhua was detonated, without the blessing of the Brahma God, how much would you share? Isn't it too cruel to sacrifice with life? At this moment, a voice came, and as soon as the voice came out, the expressions of Lu Fan and the others changed. Chapter 5138. Among the strong people in the field, there is a very special group. They are all young women, and each has an elegant and luxurious temperament, which makes people dare not blaspheme. There were only a few hundred people in this group, but even Lu Fan did not dare to underestimate them because they were from the Qin sect. However, what everyone did not expect was that a woman emerged from the crowd of Qinzong. That woman was none other than Liao Yuhuang, a strong Qinzong. Senior sister Yuhuang? When they saw Liao Yuhuang standing up, the other disciples of Qinzong looked at her with shock. Not only the disciples of Qinzong were shocked, but the powerhouses of other forces were also in disbelief. What did the disciples of Qinzong mean? You must know that all the forces here were invited by the Brahma Pill Valley, and the Brahma Pill Valley gave the benefits to everyone. Isn't Liao Yuhuang's words deliberately disgusting the Brahma Pill Valley? Yuhuang, what do you mean? Seeing Liao Yuhuang stand up, Qin Kiking's face sank and he shouted sharply. And Lu Fan's face was no longer good-looking at this time, and he said coldly, I heard that the disciples of Qinzong were so arrogant, and when I saw them today, they really lived up to their reputation. Lu Fan was furious. If Liao Yuhuang was not from Qinzong, he would have killed him long ago. His words were for Qin Keqing. Qin Keqing is not a fool, why can't he hear what Lu Fan means? As the leader of Qinzong, her subordinates stood up at this time, and it was not only the stage of Brahma Pill Valley, but also a kind of disregard for Qin Keqing. Facing the fierce gazes of everyone and looking at Qin Kiking's gloomy face, Liao Yuhuang still looked calm, neither humble nor arrogant. The Brahma Pill Valley invites us to come and share the source stone of the fire. My Qinzong is very grateful, but my Qinzong cultivates the way of music. The change. The way of happiness lies in listening to the sounds of all things in the world, feeling the root of the 7 emotions and 6 desires, and appreciating the source of all the flavors of life. Cultivating happiness is better than cultivating the mind, cultivating the mind is better than cultivating the Tao, and cultivating the Tao is better than practicing. In order to practice and improve one's own realm more quickly, forgetting the original heart, eating human blood, putting the cart before the horse and contaminating the Tao, is not what I should do as a disciple of Qinzong. Liao Yuhuang's voice was originally pleasant, but these few words were even more sonorous and powerful, like the profound sound of the Tao, which penetrated into the soul of people. After listening to Liao Yuhuang's words, Long Chen couldn't help but sigh in his heart that this Liao Yuhuang is the real music cultivation, especially the sentence, cultivation of music is better than cultivation of mind is better than cultivation of Tao, cultivation of Tao is better than cultivation, which is even more impressive. Admiration to the 5-body cast to the ground. In her opinion, cultivation is the lowest level thing. The so-called cultivation base and combat power is just the capital of bravery, not what she pursues. Only then did Long Chen understand that Liao Yuhuang was pursuing Li Dao wholeheartedly, while everyone else was thinking about how to use Li Dao to improve their strength, and the two judged each other. After listening to Liao Yuhuang's words, the disciples of Qinzong were all unmoved. They were all people who cultivated music, but Liao Yuhuang's words made them enlightened, as if their souls had been sublimated in an instant. In the eyes they looked at Liao Yuhuang, in addition to admiration, there was also a trace of admiration. At this time, they realized that Liao Yuhuang's realm on the music road was much higher than theirs. Seeing the emotional fluctuations of the disciples of Qinzong, Qin Kiking's face became even more ugly. In Qinzong, she had always looked down on Liao Yuhuang. Qin Keqing is the arrogance of the ancient seal. He is extremely talented and unparalleled in the world. He was awakened in this generation and thought that he could be proud of his peers. Also woken up, Qin Keqing could only lead a part of the disciples of the Qin sect, and in this part of the disciples of the Qin sect, in addition to a few ancient sealed monsters, there was also a disciple with astonishing talent, Liao Yuhuang. And Liao Yuhuang also has a lot of prestige among the disciples of Qinzong, and Qin Keqing is a domineering and violent person. She cannot tolerate the light of someone under her who threatens her. Therefore, when she was in Qinzong, Liao Yuhuang was made difficult for several times, but she never cared, and even became an accompaniment assistant, and she had no complaints. Qin Keqing saw that Liao Yuhuang did not resist, and because of Liao Yuhuang's background, he gradually stopped targeting her so clearly. Now, when Liao Yuhuang stood up, Qin Kiking's first thought was not the origin stone of heavenly fire in itself, but she wants to challenge her own majesty. Qin Keqing roared angrily. Shut up for me. What right do you have to say these words? Are you trying to teach me a lesson? Or do you think it was a mistake for Qin Zong to let us come to the heavenly fire demon realm? Without waiting for Liao Yuhuang to speak, Qin Keqing continued to shout. I have long seen that you are dissatisfied with me. You are dissatisfied. You can directly challenge me and say those high-sounding words. Are you hypocritical? Don't think that your mother is the suzerain of the sect and can do whatever she wants. Your mother has never taught you to be a subordinate, so you should obey orders? What about your upbringing? Qin Keqing's words were extremely vicious, which almost showed that he scolded Liao Yuhuang for being uneducated, which was equivalent to even pulling out Liao Yuhuang's mother. When Long Chen heard Qin Keqing's roar like a shrew scolding the street, he couldn't help being speechless for a while. His heart was poisonous and his mouth stinks. Can such a shrewd shrew become a leader? Is Qin Zong's high-level eyes blind? No matter how strong she is, what's the use of her virtue if she can't convince the public? It will only distract people. Not to mention comparing with Liao Yuhuang, even compared with ordinary Qin Zong disciples, she is far less tolerant and hardy. Facing Qin Keqing's roar, Liao Yuhuang's face sank and her body trembled slightly. Obviously, she was angry, and she said coldly, I have never used my mother's identity to do whatever I want, and all the disciples of Qinzong can attest to this. Also, my mother told me that when something happens, if it's definitely wrong, for whatever reason, don't do it. I can be sure that you are doing it wrong. Blood-stained steamed buns can't be eaten. Maybe others can eat them, but we Qinzong can't eat them. Qin Keqing was furious. The Bailong family is against the Brahma Pill Valley, and they will die, and have nothing to do with our Qin sect. Liao Yuhuang shook his head and said, I don't have the qualifications to judge whether the Bailong family is still alive, but I know that steamed buns stained with blood cannot be eaten. Shut up for me, any blood-stained steamed buns are all nonsense. You are an idiot who has only reached the 5th level of Taishangsing Xingju and has stopped moving forward. What qualifications do you have to talk nonsense? Don't blame me for being ruthless and ruthless. Qin Keqing looked at Liao Yuhuang with a killing intent in her eyes. Obviously, she had murderous intentions towards Liao Yuhuang, and she wanted to take this opportunity to get rid of Liao Yuhuang. This is a great opportunity for Qin Keqing. Everyone present can testify to her. After all, this matter is related to the cooperation between Qin Zong and Brahma Pill Valley. Even if she kills Liao Yuhuang, Qin Zong nor will she be held accountable. However, just when everyone's eyes were focused on Liao Yuhuang and Qin Keqing, Long Chen had already restrained his breath and crept into the crowd. No one noticed that there was one more person in the crowd. Chapter 5139. Qin Ke's voice was clear, his eyes were full of murderous intent, and everyone present focused on the two of them. You must know that Qinzong is one of the 4 ancient sects, and it is very mysterious. How strong is it? There were many powerhouses present, and many people could see that Qin Keqing was a little jealous of Liao Yuhuang, and this time he was afraid that he would have to avenge his personal revenge. Therefore, the powerhouses present did not blink for fear of missing the wonderful moment. Facing the furious Qin Keqing, Liao Yuhuang still looked calm, and she said lightly, It doesn't matter how strong or weak I am, it doesn't matter how many times I have practiced the Taishangsing Xingju. I did not intervene, nor was I able to intervene in the grievances between Brahma Pill Valley and the Bailong clan, nor did I destroy the relationship between Qin Zong and Pill Valley. However, I am still firm in my position. The blood-stained head can't be eaten. If you insist on eating it, it's up to you. I will withdraw from this heavenly fire tribulation and find a place to pass the tribulation on my own. As soon as Liao Yuhuang said these words, disciples of Qin Zong stood behind Liao Yuhuang. Obviously, they agreed with Liao Yuhuang's statement. They all felt unacceptable to sacrifice the lives of the White Dragon family to benefit themselves. Although the White Dragon family did not die because of them, if they benefited from the tribulation, they would eat blood-stained buns. When someone stood behind Liao Yuhuang and stated their position, most of them immediately stood over. Among the hundreds, only a few dozen stood there. They looked at Liao Yuhuang and Qin Ku. Qin, I don't know how to choose for a while. At that moment, Qin Kiking's face was covered with frost, and at this time, Li Tianfan smiled and said, "Fairy Feather Huang is a beautiful person with a kind heart and a graceful bearing. The most rare thing is that she has such popularity. It seems that in the future, there will be your excellency as the future sect master of the Qin sect." When Li Tianfan said these words, Long Chen, who had just sneaked into a group of dragon powerhouses with the fluctuation of dragon blood, suddenly became angry. This guy from the chess master is too sinister. He is clearly adding fuel to the fire and directly hits Qin Kiking's most deadly place. Originally, this woman's jealousy was so strong. Sure enough, when she heard Li Tianfan's words, Qin Kiking's face suddenly became hideous, and she shouted sharply, "What do you mean? Are you going to rebel? Since you are going to rebel, let's die together." Qin Keqing was furious, his murderous aura erupted in an instant. The air was billowing, and Xianyin was agitated, and the people around were affected by her breath. Influenced, they retreated. The opportunity is here. Seeing this, Long Chen couldn't help but be overjoyed, pretending that he couldn't stand Qin Kiking's breath, and quickly retreated with everyone, but the direction he was retreating was the source stone of Tianhua. Boom! Qin Kiking's killing intent was soaring to the sky, and the violent coercion raged. I could vaguely see countless transparent blades spinning in the void, splitting the space and emitting a harsh sonic boom. Everyone was horrified. Qin Keqing had not yet summoned the vision, and the pressure had already made it difficult for countless children of destiny to breathe, and their souls trembled. All the people present are at the level of the Son of Destiny, and they are also the best among the Sons of Destiny, otherwise they would not be qualified to come here. Even the elites in the Children of Destiny couldn't bear the breath of Qin Keqing, which shocked them, and they finally saw how terrifying the legendary four ancient sects were. There was a gloomy smile on Li Tianfan's face, and there was nothing more pleasing than watching Qin Zong kill each other. And Lu Fan and others are also happy to watch the fun. Anyway, it will take a certain amount of time to open the source stone of Skyfire. It is better to watch a good show. They are also curious whether the strong Qin Zong is really as terrifying as the legend. Senior Sister Keqing, what do you mean? At this moment, Liao Yuhuang's complexion changed. Qin Kiking's qi had locked her. Sin Lung's killing intent made her bones chill. She could be sure that Qin Keqing had murderous intentions towards her. What shocked her the most was that Qin Keqing seemed to have gone mad at this time. Once she made a move, the terrifying power would kill other Qin sect disciples. Liao Yuhuang has a calm nature. She couldn't understand how Qin Keqing could suddenly become so crazy. It was because she didn't know how terrible a woman's jealousy was. Qin Keqing was a strong man in ancient times. In fact, in the Qin sect of her time, there was a genius whose talent and aptitude were not weaker than hers, and even that genius was more diligent and desperate than her. However, that Tianjiao was killed by her conspiracy. Although she did it very covertly, the paper couldn't contain the fire. After all, that was Qinzong's peerless Tianjiao, and Tianjiao's death caused a sensation in the entire Qinzong. As a result, when the truth came out, Qinzong was furious up and down and wanted to execute Qin Keqing, but Qinzong was divided into two factions. One group advocated executing Qin Keqing and maintaining the order of Qinzong. The other faction believes that the arrogant is dead, and if Qin Keqing is executed again, Qinzong will lose two peerless arrogances at once, and this loss is unbearable. The two factions were in a quarrel, and there was even a risk of disintegration. In the end, Qin Keqing was temporarily sealed, and she was not allowed to appear in Qinzong. Qinzong originally planned to revote to decide how to deal with Qin Keqing after 30 years. After a 30-year cooling-off period, when the matter was restarted, those who wanted to execute Qin Keqing gradually calmed down. This time, there were less than 20% of those who planned to execute Qin Keqing. In this way, the minority can only obey the majority in the end. Qin Keqing was not executed, but those who hated Qin Keqing said that they didn't want to see her in this life, so Qin Keqing was sealed forever. Now that Qin Keqing has been awakened, only the current master of the Qin sect knows the secret, and the current master of the Qin sect also values Qin Kiking's talent, and he did not tell anyone about it. When Qin Keqing faced Liao Yuhuang, she became jealous, especially when she saw so many disciples of Qin Zong standing behind Liao Yuhuang. She recalled that scene, and Li Tianfan's words became a powerful drug. Qin Keqing looked at Liao Yuhuang, as if she saw the Qin Zong Tianjiao who was killed by her. She even wondered if Liao Yuhuang was the one who was reincarnated to seek revenge for her. Like a wild horse that can no longer be controlled. Senior Sister Keqing, you are calm and calm, you continue to overcome your calamity, we are going our way, we have nothing to do with each other, why should we fight with each other and fight to the death? Liao Yuhuang said in shock and anger. Shut up, bitch, today, no one can save you, you must die. Qin Keqing shouted angrily. At the same time, the space around her kept shrinking, and the whole world began to tremble. You still think about how to save yourself. At this moment, a lazy voice came, and when they heard the voice, Lu Fan, Minglong Wushang, Luo Yujiao, Huang Wudao and others were shocked, and even Qin Keqing was startled. Turning to look at the heavenly fire god stone. On the heavenly fire god stone, Long Chen was looking at the crowd with a smile. At that moment, the audience was dead silent. Chapter 5140 Long Chen sat on the Skyfire Origin Stone and looked down at everyone. Beneath the Skyfire Origin Stone, Bai Yingxue and others, who had fallen into a coma, have now awakened, and they are looking at everything in front of them with shock. It turned out that Bai Yingxue and others were teleported into the trap, and immediately fell into a coma, not knowing what happened. Dragon Dust, when they saw Long Chen, other people's faces were full of shock, and Lu Fan's handsome face was twisted in an instant, and it was ferocious. He gritted his teeth and said, "You're not dead. Che, the little curse of destiny, you want to curse me to death? You think too highly of yourself? If it wasn't for the old guys from the Earth Demon Clan that day, you would have been reincarnated." Long Chen shook his head, then looking at Yan Hong in the crowd, "Yan Hong, you don't have to be angry. This guy was on the grounds of the old demon clan, he was beaten by me to the point of urinating, and even his panties were blown away, so he was almost on his knees and called Dad. Although you died last time, to a certain extent he was much more embarrassed than you, and I think your strength should be stronger than his." As soon as Long Chen said this, the strong people present were all stunned. Listening to Long Chen's tone, the two had already fought, and it ended with Lu Fan's defeat. You must know that Lu Fan is one of the 8 sons of Brahma. He is protected by the will of De Brahma. He is almost invincible. Long Chen actually defeated him? But now, Lu Fan's expression is excited, and his face is distorted and deformed, and it can be judged that what Long Chen said should not be a lie. Long Chen defeated Lu Fan. The news shocked everyone present. Minglong Wushang, Luo Yujiao, Huang Wudao and others were all in disbelief. Although they had not fought against Lu Fan, the strong sense told this Lu Fan's strength is unfathomable, they are not sure to win Lu Fan. When Yan Hong heard Long Chen's words, he felt a lot more comfortable in his heart. He was targeted by everyone before, and he had long been suffocated. Now, when he saw Lu Fan Qiqiao smoking, he was overjoyed. Lu Fan was never my opponent. If it wasn't for him being the son of Brahma, I would have killed him just now. Yan Hong sneered, "However, your words make me very comfortable. In order to thank you, let's do it, I will leave you a whole body in a while." "Don't, if you are so polite, I will be embarrassed to kill you in a while. You don't show mercy. Of course, I won't let you leave here alive." Long Chen smiled. "Idiot, I'm no longer the me I used to be. Today, the one who can't leave alive is you." Yan Hong sneered. In the face of Yan Hong's ridicule, Long Chen didn't care. Instead, there was a look of excitement on his face. His eyes swept over Lu Fan, Li Tianfan, Minglong Wushang, Luo Yujiao, Huang Wudao and others. It was only then that I noticed that all the people in this group were masters of this level. The Demon Clan, the Blood Clan, the Stone Clan, the Fate Hunting Clan, the Ming Clan, the Monster Clan. "Good guy, my enemies are all gathered together. Li Tianfan, you represent the Chess sect. Qin Keqing, do you represent the Qin sect?" Long Chen finally looked at the two people. Li Tianfan saw Long Chen, although he was surprised at first, but now he is calm. I heard that the youngest dean in the history of Lingshao Academy, with unparalleled skills and unparalleled wisdom, is a man of courage and strategy, but when I saw it today, I felt that the rumors were a bit too much. In my opinion, you shouldn't be so stupid to come here. It's a dead end, it's a trap in itself. To be honest, I really want to compete with the top master of Lingshao Academy. Unfortunately, it seems that more people want your life. This opportunity is not my turn, which is a pity. Li Tianfan did not directly answer Long Chen's question, but from his tone, he actually gave Long Chen the answer. Trap? Mouse trap want to fool me? Child, you're still too tender. Long Chen sneered. Everything here is arranged by Brahma Pill Valley. With Lu Fan's IQ, he can't calculate that I will come here. This conceited guy thinks that his curse of destiny will kill me. Even if he can't curse me to death, it will cost me half of my life. His only choice should be to escape from here as soon as possible, rather than come here. The art of attacking the heart. You don't have to play with me, it doesn't make any sense, you still have the strength to fool other children. After Long Chen finished speaking, he looked at Qin Keqing and then looked at Liao Yuhuang and said, "Can you two make a statement? Who can represent Qin Zone? There are so many scruples so that you don't start your hands for a while." Qin Keqing sneered and said, "How dare you be arrogant when death is imminent? I really don't know how to write the word death. I, Qin Keqing, can tell you that Qin Zone and Brahma Pill Valley are in the same breath, and the enemy of Pill Valley is my Qin Zone." Enemy. After listening to Qin Keqing's words, Long Chen nodded, indicating that he had heard clearly. He turned to look at Liao Yuhuang, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Old friend, thank you for your kind deeds to the Bailong family and the wisdom of the prisoner. It never disappoints." Liao Yuhuang was surprised to see Long Chen coming. She has a strange affection for Long Chen. In her heart, Long Chen is a very intelligent person who is proficient in rhythm. She is even considered to be the first bosom friend. And when Long Chen mentioned the word prisoner, Liao Yuhuang's eyes widened. She instantly understood that by Dale in Hantian Square was Long Chen, and the two were originally the same person. Long Chen is no longer disguised at this time, because he pretended to be afraid that he would implicate the White Dragon family, but Brahma Pill Valley is so insidious that he actually wants to sacrifice the White Dragon family. The two forces are completely incompatible, so there is nothing involved. Don't bother to say this. Looking at Long Chen, Liao Yuhuang had a complicated look on her face. She shook her head and said, "Actually, it is not helpful. Yuhuang is young and weak and has no ability to participate in other people's disputes. We can only manage ourselves, we can't eat the blood-stained buns. This is the bottom line of Qinzong's life, and we will also stick to our bottom line. Other than that, we can't do more." In Liao Yuhuang's eyes, there was a trace of sadness. Long Chen was the person she admired most among her younger generation. She also knew that Long Chen was a good man who values love and righteousness, and what he did was also upright. She should help him, but she is not alone. She is a disciple of Qinzong, and her every move represents Qinzong. This identity binds her and prevents her from helping Long Chen, which makes her extremely sad. Hearing Liao Yuhuang's words, Long Chen smiled slightly. "It's the best, since you're not my enemy, stay away a little bit later, so as not to collapse in blood. Heaven has a way, you don't go, hell has no way to cast it. Long Chen, let us today but the unfinished battle between us." After the two of them finished speaking, a cold smile appeared on the corner of Lu Fan's mouth. Suddenly his hands formed a seal. On the huge Skyfire origin stone, countless runes lit up, and a vast divine might radiated out. Chapter 5141. He can control the Skyfire origin stone? Li Tianfan and the others were shocked. What did Lu Fan mean? What's the point of waiting so long before then? What Li Tianfan and others didn't know was that Lu Fan could indeed control the Heavenly Fire Origin Stone, because this Heavenly Fire Origin Stone had the Brahma divine mark. As the son of Brahma, he naturally had the means to control it. But Li Tianfan wanted to detonate the Skyfire Origin Stone. Relying on his own strength was far from enough. so he had to extract the sacred power of the White Dragon clan to detonate the power of the Skyfire Origin Stone. In this way, the power of the Heavenly Fire Origin Stone exploded, but the Brahma Divine Rune was still there. It could lock half of the power of the Heavenly Fire Origin Stone and extract the most essential part for Li Tianfan to enjoy alone. The remaining half of the power is shared by all the strong people present, because the power of the Skyfire Origin Stone is too huge, and Li Tianfan can't absorb it completely, and 99% of the power will be sealed in the Brahma Rune. According to the original plan, Li Tianfan would absorb these Brahma runes and form a seal in his body, and the power in the seal could make his future practice advance by leaps and bounds. He doesn't need the support of medicinal pills, and he doesn't need to practice hard. The energy in this rune is enough to send him to the realm of the Nine Veins Heavenly Saint, and he can even touch the threshold of the Emperor's realm. It can be said that everything here is under control, although he did not expect Longchen to come here, but he is not panic at all, even very excited, because this is his home. Longchen is hard to fly today. Buzzing. The runes circulated on the Skyfire Origin Stone, and the vast divine power swept the world. Bai Yingxue and others on the altar exclaimed for a while. The blood power that was left in their bodies was frantically being extracted by the Skyfire Origin Stone. Longchen, run quickly, the source stone of the fire is about to explode. Bai Yingxue shouted in horror, because the power of blood was drawn, so she could sense the internal state of the source stone of fire, and the source stone of fire was about to explode. Once the Skyfire Origin Stone explodes, the terrifying power will instantly blow them and the altar under their feet into nothingness. If Longchen doesn't run, he will be killed in an instant. No one can resist the power of the Skyfire Origin Stone. Don't worry, Longchen won't run away. He's not the kind of person who can't help him. Otherwise, what face does he have in this world? Li Tianfan responded loudly in the face of Bai Yingxue's exclamation. I have to say that this Li Tianfan's mouth is really damaged. If Longchen leaves, he will die. He is using words to provoke Longchen, so that Longchen cannot escape. In the face of Li Tianfan's aggressive method, a sarcasm appeared on the corner of Longchen's mouth. It's all tricks that can't be used on the table. Don't take it out in shame, the little Brahma rune. How can you get your third master Long? In the face of the wildly shaking Skyfire Origin Stone, Longchen stretched out his hand, and a rune appeared in his palm. As soon as the rune came out, the endless power of life bloomed, and the world trembled. The way of Kun, God returns to Wuji. Longchen slammed his hand on the Skyfire Origin Stone with one hand. There was no shocking sound, and there was no sound. The vast power of life came, and the madly trembling Skyfire Origin Stone calmed down in an instant. The Brahma runes that were lit up before were also dimmed, but what Bai Yingxue and others couldn't believe was that the blood power they had drawn returned quickly, and all of them were returned to them. What? Lu Fan was shocked and angry when he saw this scene. Only he, the son of Brahma, can drive this Brahma talisman, even if Han Qinye came. However, this Brahma rune, which contained the will of the great Brahma, was suppressed by Longchen, and all the power extracted before was returned to Bai Yingxue and others, which means that the previous efforts were all in vain. Bastard, you can't stop me! Lu Fan shouted angrily, and the statue of Brahma appeared behind him. He recited the scriptures, and quickly formed a seal with his hands. The dim Brahma rune lighted up again. Bai Yingxue and others exclaimed, and the power of blood in the body was once again madly extracted. And they have no resistance at all. Feng Yu and Hu Xiaoyu, who were with Bai Yingxue, felt the power of their bloodlines leave their bodies. If this goes on, it only takes a few breaths to drain the power of their bloodlines. Can't stop you? I don't believe it? Longchen seemed to have anticipated Lu Fan's actions a long time ago, and saw that he was not in a hurry, with a big hand, and shouted loudly, Demon Moon Cauldron. Then the Qinkuan Cauldron appeared in Longchen's hands, and Longchen held the Qinkuan Cauldron and tapped the Heavenly Fire Origin Stone lightly. That's right, it's just a light tap, as carefully as you're trying to crack an eggshell. Click! When the horn of the Qinkuan Cauldron slammed on the Heavenly Fire Origin Stone, there was a light sound, and I saw a spider web-like crack on the heavenly fire origin stone, which spread rapidly and spread to the entire divine stone in an instant. The Yaoiwei cauldron shouted in Long Chen's mouth actually summoned the Qiankuan cauldron. Although the Qiankuan cauldron could not be killed, it also had unexpected magical effects. Buzzing. The fire source stone was full of cracks that day, and its breath began to fluctuate wildly. The vast coercion made the strong people present horrified. Li Tianfan and others changed their faces and immediately greeted the clansmen to retreat. Boom! With a loud bang, countless stone fragments fell off the Skyfire origin stone, and the violent scene people imagined did not appear. The stone skin of the Tianhua origin stone fell off, revealing the colorful radiance inside. It was like an egg that had been peeled off its shell and appeared in front of everyone. On the Tianhua origin stone, there is now only a thin film, which people can see with the naked eye. Inside, the Skyfire runes that are flowing wildly. At that moment, the Skyfire origin stone was like a colorful magic lamp, illuminating the whole world, and the brilliant divine brilliance made the whole world colorful and dreamy, making people feel like they were in a dream. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect that the source stone of Tianhua was actually a stone egg. When the stone skin was opened, the power of fire between heaven and earth was all presented in front of everyone. The hot fluctuations came from the stone eggs. At that moment, their blood surged, the pores opened, and the energy in the body fluctuated. With the appearance of the stone eggs, it became active, and the bottleneck of the seal could no longer be controlled. Was washed away. Boom, boom, boom. Some weaker people could not control it at all, and immediately started to break through. Seeing this scene, Lu Fan's face changed greatly, and he roared and rushed to the stone egg for the first time. An Li Tianfan, Luo Yujiao, Qin Keqing, Minglong Wushang, Huang Wudao and others rushed over. Don't grab it, it's all from Lao Tzu. Long Qin shouted, and before they rushed over he had already plunged into the stone egg. Boom! When Long Qin rushed into the stone egg, there was a loud noise, the stone egg exploded, and the endless flame energy was released, igniting the whole world in an instant. Chapter 5142 Long Qin plunged into the stone egg, and the endless flames erupted, forming a huge ripple, a terrifying impact, and directly knocked Lu Fan and others out. However, although the power of the flame is vast, it is extremely soft, otherwise the terrifying impact will crush everyone into powder. Obviously, Lu Fan knew that the power of the flame couldn't hurt him, so he rushed forward desperately, but it was of no use. Like everyone else, he was also rushed out. At that moment, Lu Fan's heart froze instantly. His eyes were full of rage and panic. In this endless flame, he could no longer feel any fluctuations in the Brahma runes. That is to say, this flame completely out of his control. Everyone was blown away by the flames, but Long Chen at the top and Buying Xue at the bottom were not affected, because the impact of the flames was concentrated in the middle, and the top and bottom received the least impact. I am going to kill you. Lu Fan's face was distorted and he let out a heart-piercing roar. He hated Long Chen thoroughly, and Long Chen actually disrupted all his plans. Just now, Long Chen smashed the source stone of Tianhua with the Qiankuan cauldron and directly smashed the Brahma talisman. Without the constraints of the Brahma talisman, he can no longer open a small stove, that is to say, he has to go like everyone else. Compete for the power of Skyfire here. Lu Fan roared upstream and rushed towards Long Chen. At the same time, Li Tianfan, Luo Yujiao, Qin Keqing, Huang Wudao, Minglong Wushang and others also killed them. They don't know what happened, but they know that the first task now is to kill Long Chen, and while everyone is killing, Li Tianfan suddenly turned in a direction and rushed towards Buying Xue, Feng Yu and others. It's really despicable, Li Tianfan. Remember, he'll be the first to kill you in a while. Long Chen looked at Li Tianfan with murderous intent in his eyes. This person is extremely shameless and a scourge. Haha, thank you for the compliment. If you want to kill me, then see if you have that ability. In the face of Long Chen's threat, Li Tianfan did not panic at all. In his opinion, Long Chen must die today, because no one can simultaneously resist the attacks of so many strong men. Laugh, I hope you can laugh at that time too. Long Chen snorted coldly, and suddenly his hands formed a seal. The breath that had been suppressed for a long time in the body burst out, and a beam of light rose into the sky, straight into the sky. Idiot, to break through at this time, are you afraid that you won't die fast enough? Minglong Wushang sneered. Inciting the robbery, although it can quickly increase the power, but that means that in the middle and late stages, the early robbers are impacted and suppressed by the power of the robbery. It is extremely dangerous to be attacked at this time. Obviously, they are a little bit incomprehensible. Long Chen's behavior is no different from courting death. Boom boom boom. However, just when they thought that Long Chen was courting death, spears of thousands of miles descended from the sky and stabbed the earth. At that moment, Lu Fan and the others trembled for a while, and the instinct of life forced them to retreat quickly. Kakaka. Just after they retreated, 36 thunder spears pierced the ground, pierced through the void, and forcibly knocked the void out of 36 large holes. 36 thunder spears appeared, and the souls of countless people were in severe pain. On the thunder spear, endless thunder circulated, and the breath of death permeated, and Long Chen was firmly surrounded. Lu Fan and others were shocked. They were all stunned. Above the thunder spear, there was a supreme law of destruction. If they were hit, they would not have time to summon the destiny roulette, and they would most likely be killed with one hit. The most important thing is that they are the children of the destiny, and they are the people to whom the destiny belongs. But the 36 thunder spears, it seems that the 6 relatives do not recognize it. No matter what, the son of destiny is not the child of destiny. As long as it is within its range, all life will be killed. 36 thunder spears surrounded Long Chen, like a prison of thunder. Buying Xue, Feng Yu and others below were crushed by the terrifying heavenly might, and their bones were crushed. His face looked at the thunder spears around him in horror, but he didn't dare to say a word, because as soon as he opened his mouth, he would explode and die. Lu Fan and the others looked at the thunder spear in horror. They couldn't believe everything in front of them. They had seen a lot of transcendence, but this phenomenon had never happened before. Above the void, the robbery clouds are circulating, and it seems that everything has not yet begun, but the robbery first trapped Long Chen and did not give him any chance to escape. This vision appeared, and even Long Chen didn't expect it. He looked up at the void. The robbery cloud was like a universe pressed down. Long Chen was locked by the will of supreme destruction. This time, Long Chen smelled a strong death. Want to kill me? It depends on whether you have that ability. In the face of the unprecedented terrifying catastrophe, Long Chen aroused the monstrous fighting spirit and quickly formed a seal with his hands. Buzz, a transparent ripple spread rapidly with Long Chen as the core, when the ripple touched the 36 thunder spears. Boom! 36 thunder spears trembled rapidly, and there was a thunderous roar. At that moment, the sky and the earth changed color, and the universe shook. Everyone present suddenly felt a tremor in their souls, and they couldn't help but step back. What is that? A disciple of Qinzong exclaimed. Long Chen is fighting against the will of the robbery with his own will. Liao Yuhuang looked at Long Chen with a look of horror in his eyes, and she saw the doorway. What? How is this possible? How can the will of man compete with the Tao of heaven? Liao Yuhuang's words were obviously unbelievable. However, just as the 36 pillars of thunder roared, Bai Yingxue and others suddenly loosened their bodies, and the force that almost crushed them disappeared instantly, and they finally got a chance to breathe. You shrink the formation just below me, don't deviate at all. Long Chen said to Bai Yingxue. Bai Yingxue and others heard the words and immediately moved directly under Long Chen. Now they have no other choice. If they rush out, they will definitely be killed by Lu Fan and others. One after another beams of light rose into the sky, but their beams of light were all swallowed up by Long Chen's robbery cloud, and they couldn't create a ripple at all. No, why did the power of the sky fire begin to shrink? A disciple of Brahma Pill Valley exclaimed. With the man's scream, everyone discovered that the power of the sky fire that was madly spewing out just now stopped erupting, but began to shrink in the direction of Long Chen. This bastard is madly extracting the power of heavenly fire. Ming Long Wushang shouted, and he saw that there was a beautiful girl beside Long Chen, with her hands in seals, chanting the scriptures, and the endless power of flames between heaven and earth. It was rushing towards her. Quickly enter the state of calamity and compete for the power of skyfire. Lu Fan roared, and with his reminder, millions of powerhouses were present, hitting the bottleneck at the same time, and beams of light shot up into the sky. Chapter 5143. With Lu Fan's roar, everyone hit the bottleneck at the same time. The divine light pierced through the air, and millions of powerhouses crossed the calamity at the same time. The scene was extremely spectacular. When Lu Fan and the others burst out, the endless power of skyfire was attracted to them, forming balls of flames around them. And above the 9 heavens, tribulation clouds appeared. Each tribulation cloud corresponded to a tribulation transcendence. Millions of tribulation clouds circulated, like flowers on the Tianhe River, bright and magnificent. Lu Fan, Li Tianfan, Qin Keqing, Luo Yujiao, Huang Wudao, Minglong Wushang and others had a robbery cloud range of tens of thousands of miles, but they were all under Long Chen's huge robbery cloud vortex. Seeing this scene, Lu Fan's pupils shrank suddenly. He turned his head to look at Long Chen, and was shocked to find that Long Chen was bathing in the endless sea of fire, and the power of the vast flame was under his control, unable to extension outside. Bastard, aren't you afraid of dying? Lu Fan gritted his teeth. Although 99% of the flames leaked out when the Skyfire Origin Stone exploded, the most essential part was in the core. Long Chen and Huolinger cooperated, and the two desperately controlled the core of the Skyfire essence, so that it could not be leaked. At this time, Long Chen put his body in an ethereal state and was madly absorbing the power of Skyfire. What Long Chen doesn't know is that the rule here is that the stronger the calamity, the more celestial fire absorbed, and the more celestial fire absorbed, the stronger the calamity, and the two complement each other. Long Chen's heavenly tribulation is extremely terrifying, and now Long Chen is still desperately absorbing the power of heavenly fire, causing the heavenly tribulation above Long Chen's head to become larger and larger. Brother Long Chen, is it really okay to go on like this? This catastrophe is too scary. Huolinger's voice trembled. She has followed Long Chen for so many years and has gone through countless calamities, but this time, she felt scared. As the power of the heavenly fire they devoured is getting bigger and bigger, the vortex of heavenly tribulation has reached boundless, and no end can be seen. Moreover, the endless thunder runes in the heavenly tribulation are gathering and devouring each other. The power of destruction terrified her, something she had never encountered before. Don't worry about it, swallow as much as you can, until you can't swallow it, either don't play. If you want to play, play the biggest one, we have no other choice except to become stronger. Long Chen gritted his teeth. Long Chen, if you go on like this, the strength of the robbery will exceed your imagination, don't be too greedy. At this time, even Qinkuan Cauldron reminded. I don't want to be greedy, but you have seen it. If I'm not greedy, how can I get rid of them? Will they give me a way to live? Long Chen looked at Lu Fan and others outside. Lu Fan, Yan Hong, Li Tianfan, Qin Keqing, Luo Yujiao, Minglong Wushang, Huang Wudao and others were all on the same level. If it is only one person, Long Chen is not afraid, but with so many people together, no matter how conceited Long Chen is, he knows that when the calamity is over, it is the moment when he died. Just a Lu Fan, Long Chen almost emptied his family to fight with him, not to mention Yan Hong, Li Tianfan and other powerhouses of this level. There are as many as 20. If Long Chen is not greedy, he will take it after the calamity. What to fight with them? Senior, my strength is forced out. I have to be strong. If I am just alone, I may be able to run away desperately. But many times, they don't give me a chance to escape. If I escape, neither Bai Yingxue, Feng Yu and the others will survive. Do you think I have a choice? Long Chen said. After listening to Long Chen's words, Chen Ding was silent. It understood Long Chen and let Long Chen abandon his friends and escape. It was absolutely impossible. Even if he knew that he would die, he would not escape. He would die with everyone. This is Long Chen. Boom. Long Chen is still trying his best to absorb the power of the skyfire. The endless flames wrap Long Chen. Others' flame balls are only tens of thousands of miles. Even the flame balls of Lu Fan and others are only hundreds of thousands of miles. And the flame ball around Long Chen has reached millions of miles. The most terrifying thing is that the flame ball contains the purest skyfire essence, and the colorful flame runes flow, making Lu Fan and others. Jealousy's eyes were red. Bastard, let's kill him together. Yen Hong roared. Long Chen alone controlled so many skyfire essences, including countless pure flames of emptiness, which were originally his goals. How could he be willing to let Long Chen swallow them all? You don't have to do it. He can't swallow such a terrifying essence of skyfire. Don't say so much. Even 1/10 of the energy will burst his body. At this time, Li Tianfan said. Li Tianfan looked at Long Chen, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. The energy of the fire essence was so terrifying that day, he didn't believe that Long Chen could eat it. Brother Tianfan is right. The essence of skyfire under his control accounts for almost 50% of the most essential part of the source stone of skyfire, and he can't eat that much. Forcibly swallowing it will blow him up. We just need to wait quietly. There is no good end to being insatiable. When the calamity really begins, the power of the fire and the power of the calamity merge. At that moment, the two forces will kill him in an instant, even if he does not die, also seriously injured. At that time, he would also die under the catastrophe without even needing our hands. Lu Fan gritted his teeth. As for the energy of the Skyfire Origin Stone, Lu Fan knows better than anyone that the energy controlled by Long Chen is the most essential part of the Skyfire Origin Stone. This part was originally supposed to be controlled by him, and he needed to seal these energies in the Brahma runes, and then only absorb a small part to complete the advancement, and the rest would be sealed in his body, leaving it is used as the nourishment to impact the realm of the Emperor in the future. And Long Chen wants to devour so many heavenly fire essence, that is, the little snake swallows the elephant, and will be killed alive. Roar! Suddenly, Lu Fan's hands formed a seal, and Tianhua Qilin appeared. He summoned Tianhua Qilin. When Tianhua Qilin saw Long Chen and Hualinger, he roared and rushed out to be stopped by Lu Fan. Don't worry, when Tianhua is out of control for a while, Long Chen is mine, and that fire spirit is yours. Lu Fan patted the Tianhua Qilin with a big hand, and a gloomy color appeared on the corner of his mouth. Boom! The flames around Long Chen have reached a certain level and can no longer grow, which means that Long Chen has reached its limit. Hey, next, let's see how he died. Li Tianfan watched the lightning flash in the center of the vortex above Long Chen's head. He knew that Long Chen had to take one step ahead of them. Buzz, just when people were concentrating and wanting to see if the fusion of the power of the fire and the power of the robbery would explode Long Chen in an instant, they were horrified to find that the robbery cloud above their heads slowly merged into the huge giant. In the vortex. What? At that moment, even a powerhouse of this level such as Lu Fan had a look of astonishment. Chapter 5144. The robbery was swallowed? How can that be? Who can tell me what is going on? The robbery cloud above his head disappeared, and even Lu Fan and the others were not calm, and the arrogances of all races were all panic-stricken. Senior Sister Yu Huang. The disciples of Qinzong also looked horrified. The arrival of Long Chen broke the source stone of Tianhua, so that the power of Tianhua was no longer blood-stained bread, and they did not need to find another place to transcend the calamity. However, this was just the beginning. Their robbery clouds were swallowed by the vortex above Long Chen's head. At that moment, everyone panicked. Liao Yuhuang looked at the robbery cloud above Long Chen's head. Her face was complicated. This is not a robbery, this is a punishment. The way of heaven wants to destroy Long Chen, and it has become omnipotent, and even our strength is given to us. Absorbed. Although Liao Yuhuang is not the strongest among the crowd, her understanding of the way of heaven can completely shake Qin Keqing and others dozens of streets. Liao Yuhuang's capture of the will of the Tao of heaven is extremely accurate. She was shocked to find that the nature of the robbery at this time has completely changed. It is not for promoting people, but for killing people. After hearing Liao Yuhuang's words, Lu Fan and the others noticed that the aura of the heavenly robbery changed. Just as Liao Yuhuang said, this heavenly tribulation was not the heavenly tribulation they knew at all. Buzz, after the robbery cloud that covered the sky and swallowed everyone's robbery cloud, endless thunder rose in the robbery cloud, and an eye of thunder with a radius of millions of miles gradually emerged in the center of the vortex. Appeared. At that moment, Liao Yuhuang's heart suddenly twitched, and the power of heavenly robbery was about to detonate the power of heavenly fire, and the two energies converged in Long Chen's body. Click! A thunderbolt shot out from the eyes of the robbery. Although people were already prepared, when the thunderbolt landed, people's eyes hurt and their souls trembled. It was a thunder giant sword with endless heavenly power, and it was heavily slashed on the top of Long Chen's head. However, in the face of this sword, Long Chen didn't dodge or avoid it, let alone any protection, let it be cut on the top of the head. Boom! With a loud bang, the sword of thunder slammed on Long Chen's head, and with a loud bang, the thunder and flames erupted around Long Chen. The thunder and fire blended, 10,000 Taos collapsed, and endless space-time fragments flew. This blow made countless powerhouses terrified. Such terrifying power is enough to smash people into powder. Moreover, the destructive power formed by the fusion of the power of thunder and the power of heaven is unimaginable. In the endless space-time fragments flying, the blood-colored mist filled the air, and at that moment, Bai Yingxue, Feng Yu, Hu Xiaoyu and others cried out for a while, thinking that Long Chen was killed by the robbery. However, when the distorted space returned to calm, they found that a figure covered in blood was still standing there. He was as solid as a rock and never moved half a step. However, at this moment, Long Chen's whole body was bloody, and on his forehead, a large hole was torn out by the thunder sword, but a disdainful sneer appeared on Long Chen's face. I thought you were so strong, but it seems that's no more than that. I gave you a chance, but it's a pity you're useless. Long Chen raised his head and looked at the eye of heavenly tribulation coldly. His face was full of provocation. Although he was covered in blood and embarrassed, his eyes were like a proud world. Although he was under heavenly tribulation, he was still you can look down on the 8 desolations and look down on the 9 heavens. You're an idiot. Chen Kuan-ding cursed in anger. It really doesn't understand what Long Chen thinks. In the face of such a terrifying catastrophe, he does not even do any protection. If the power of the catastrophe is stronger, he may be killed in an instant. If it wasn't for the tribulation, Chen Kuan-ding would like to come out and beat Long Chen for a meal. Just after the tribulation, he was severely injured. Are you crazy and stupid? It feels like it's going crazy. How can it be so hot that it recognizes such a guy as the master? He's holding on. When the disciples of Qin Zong saw this scene, they were all stunned, while Bai Yingxue and others were very excited when they saw that Long Chen was not dead. But the other powerhouses were horrified to see that in the face of such a terrifying catastrophe, Long Chen's crazy move made his scalp numb. This guy is too sturdy, he is simply a lunatic. Boom! At this time, in the eyes of the robbery, endless thunder rolled, the heavens were turbulent, the earth trembled, and the violent will to destroy enveloped the whole world. The robbery cloud is boundless, and the whole world is shrouded in darkness. Long Chen's calamity will become an endless hell here, and the world is full of death. Angry? Do you feel a pity? Didn't seize this golden opportunity? Long Chen faced the roar of the robbery, and the corner of his mouth was mocking. Boom! It seems that in response to Long Chen's ridicule, the endless torrent of thunder poured down, and in the torrent of thunder, there are thousands of swords of thunder. Tens of thousands of miles of thunderous torrents poured down. Long Chen snorted coldly, opened his arms, and blood-colored scales covered his whole body. This time, he summoned the dragon blood battle body. Boom! The thunder sword stabbed Long Chen's body, but it was shattered by Long Chen's scales, turning into endless thunder runes, surging out. What? When people saw this scene, they were all astonished. Every sword of thunder in the torrent of thunder was enough to threaten the life of the destiny, but when it hit Long Chen, it couldn't cause him any harm. Is this okay? This time, Qian Kuanding was also shocked. It didn't understand that the previous blow was full of power, and the will of heaven was as strong as steel. Now, the will of heaven has become loose. After all, Qiankuan Cauldron is Qiankuan Cauldron, no matter how powerful it is an instrument after all, and it cannot understand Long Chen's intentions. Long Chen took the risk of taking the first blow of the robbery, and it was actually a game with the robbery. It was as if two masters were fighting each other, and Long Chen had to mentally suppress the opponent's move. For so many years, Long Chen has been dealing with the robbery, and he has basically figured out the routine of the robbery. This game is to suppress the opponent's morale and spirit. And this time, Long Chen is right, the robbery can be irritated, and there are mood swings. When he shows the ridicule and contempt for the robbery, the spiritual suppression and will influence that the robbery can cause to him will be greatly weakened. Without mental suppression and will, the power of the robbery will be weakened. Although this weakening is temporary, Long Chen's purpose has been achieved. Because Long Chen knew that at the beginning of the tribulation, the moment when the power of Skyfire and the power of thunder blended, was the most dangerous, and Long Chen was fighting for a buffer for himself. Boom! The endless sword of thunder blasted. Long Chen opened his arms, bathed in the thunder, and the endless flame essence circulated around him. After the fusion of thunder and fire, Long Chen's body was like a desert, greedily swallowing rain and dew. The power of thunder and flames blended in Long Chen's body, turned into a torrent, and rushed to the limbs. In Long Chen's blood, bones, and dantian, a wonderful rune was slowly condensing. That rune is the symbol of immortality. Lu Fan, you idiot, talk like a fart, I don't believe you anymore. Seeing this, Yen Hong couldn't bear it any longer. He roared, turned into a meteor, and rushed straight to Long Chen. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.